Chapter 2404, Endless Number of Experts. At the critical moment, a heavenly emperor from the alien race crossed the void and descended from another world. Even an ordinary heavenly emperor could change the situation. The alien's eyes were ferocious as he looked at Lu Ming and Dandan. He took a step forward and appeared above them. Boom! A huge mace appeared in his hand and he swung it at Lu Ming. The mace had yet to reach them, but the terrifying qi had already made it difficult for Dandan, Lu Ming and the rest to breathe. Dandan and Lu Ming made their moves at the same time. Dandan opened her mouth and spat out a world, while Lu Ming punched out continuously with both fists, gathering into a blood-red fist force that hit the mace. Boom! Boom! With two consecutive loud bangs, the small world that Dandan had spat out shook violently and then flew back into Dandan's body. Dandan's body retreated rapidly and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Lu Ming's fist force was also crushed. He retreated rapidly, his body felt like it was about to be torn apart. The Celestial Arch was too powerful. Although Lu Ming could kill a peak great emperor with the power he borrowed, he was still no match for the Celestial Arch. All of you die. The non-human Celestial Thearch's eyes were ferocious as he charged toward Lu Ming and the others. That brat has the bloodline of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart. We can't kill him. Take him down. As for the others, kill them without mercy. Another voice came from the other side of the passage. The alien heavenly emperor's eyes flickered as he brandished his mace and smashed it towards Dandan. Don't even think about it. Lu Ming rushed over and blocked this move, but his injuries worsened. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment the tunnel was shaking violently and the crack was getting bigger and bigger. Buzz. At this time another figure rushed out of the crack. He was also an alien race powerhouse. From his aura he was also a heavenly emperor. Damn it. Earth One, Thunder One and the others roared, extremely anxious. The foreign races were going all out and continuously sending their experts over. That passage hadn't been fully opened yet. The non-humankind would have to pay a heavy price to send their powerful warriors here. But the alien race didn't seem to care. I'm finished, this lord will die here today. Dandan looked up to the sky and sighed. With two non-human heavenly emperors appearing in a row, there was no way they could escape. Just surrender. The non-human Celestial Arch laughed and swung his mace at Lu Ming and the rest again. The foreign being who came later also charged over. If this continues, I'll go all out. Strength, strength, I want strength. Lu Ming roared in his heart. As you wish. A cold voice came from the third bloodline. The blood sea churned and formed a huge human face. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of more powerful energy surged into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's power was rising steadily. This kid. The two foreign heavenly emperors looked grim. It's the power of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart. Attack and take him down. A dignified voice came from the other side of the passage. Boom, boom, boom. That passage shook more violently. The alien tribes were still worried. They wanted to send more experts here. Kill. At this moment Lu Ming looked up to the sky and roared. At this moment his will was completely overwhelmed by the endless killing intent. At this moment, there was only endless killing intent in Lu Ming's heart and nothing else. He had forgotten everything and was completely controlled by his instincts and killing intent. Kill, kill, kill. Lu Ming let out a long howl and charged toward the two foreign Celestial Arch. The two foreign Celestial Thearchs had grave expressions on their faces. They did not dare to hold back. They used all their strength to fight Lu Ming. Continuous rumbles were heard. The two foreign Celestial Thearchs were locked in a fierce battle with Lu Ming. The alien Celestial Arch was actually blocked by Lu Ming. Brother Lu Ming. Bubbles was extremely anxious. It's over. This kid is completely controlled by the killing intent. Dandan was also extremely anxious. Little guy, we must rush out. If no one manages to rush out, then everything will be over. Dandan sent a voice transmission to Bubble and then rushed out with all her might. However, there were too many foreign races. They kept rushing towards Dandan and blocked her way. They were completely passive. 2E and Lei E were blocked while Lu Ming was engaged in a fierce battle with the two foreign Celestial Thearchs. Dandan and the others were also blocked. If this continued, they would be left behind sooner or later. Power, power. Lu Ming had lost his consciousness and only had his instincts. He instinctively wanted to tear apart the enemy in front of him and kill all the living beings he saw. Therefore the third bloodline continued to pour energy into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's strength grew stronger and stronger. At first he could only fight to a draw with the two Outlander Heavenly Emperors. However, slowly Lu Ming began to gain the upper hand and began to suppress the two Outlanders. The two alien Heavenly Emperors were forced to retreat by Lu Ming. One of the alien Heavenly Emperors was caught off guard and was grazed by Lu Ming's sharp claws. A large piece of his flesh was torn off, causing him to retreat in fear. Kill! Lu Ming roared and swept his claws. The surrounding alien races below the celestial arch level were swept by the claw and exploded into the ashes dissipated. The alien races below the celestial arch level were so frightened that they retreated. They did not dare to approach Lu Ming. Trash, all of you are trash. An angry roar came from the passage. On the other side of the passage, on the other side of the endless void, was another world. It was the world of the foreign races, the evil god world. In a vast and uninhabited area of the evil god tribe, there was an extremely huge formation. The base of this formation had been condensed from the bones of the space-time spirit rat, and it was filled with countless runes. At this moment there were a few alien races standing in the sky. These foreign beings looked no different from humans. They had purple hair and a third eye in the middle of their brows. This was the royal clan of the evil god race. Behind these few members of the evil god tribe's royal family was a dense and endless army of other races. Above the huge array was an extremely huge passage. It was several times larger than the vortex where Lu Ming and the rest were. At this moment, there were at least a few dozen foreign overlords bombarding the passageway with the power of the formation, trying to open up a gap. You must bring back the bloodline of the sacred ancestor blood heart. Once the sacred ancestor blood heart is resurrected, our race will be invincible. We can conquer the heaven realm in just a few days. One of the evil god tribe's royal members said. This person had a square face and was filled with dignity as if he held supreme power. That's right. We must bring back the bloodline of the sacred ancestor blood heart. It seems that we'll have to go there personally. Beside the dignified royal member were two other royal members of the evil god tribe. At this moment one of them spoke. All right. The dignified royal in the middle nodded and then said, continue to increase the number of crystals regardless of the price. All of a sudden the non-human race members flew out, and an ocean of crystals flew into the formation. The formation glowed and its power became even stronger. Buzz! Buzz! The two royal family members rushed out and rushed into the passage. Chapter 2405, Titan Longhorn descends. At this moment the battle had already entered a state of white heat. Lu Ming completely suppressed the two non-human heavenly emperors, and his attacks became more and more ferocious. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. He grabbed one of the alien heavenly emperors and tore him in half with all his might. Save me! The alien didn't die and shouted in fear. Boom! The other alien seized the opportunity and launched a fierce attack on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body trembled and he took a few steps back. He then threw the alien's body away. The foreign heavenly emperor's body fused together and his face was pale. A heavenly emperor powerhouse would naturally not die so easily, but he was still frightened just now. Lu Ming's aura was too terrifying. His killing intent was as cold as a knife. If no one else helped him he would really die in Lu Ming's hands. The two foreign heavenly emperors had ugly expressions. If this continued they would really die here. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment the tunnel started to shake violently, even more so than before. Then the crack grew bigger and bigger. Then everyone saw two purple rays of light rush out of the crack. The two rays of purple light faded, revealing two figures. Pi Lords. The two non-human heavenly emperors were overjoyed when they saw the two figures. These two figures were the two royal powerhouses of the non-human race. We're really finished. Dandan shouted. Originally there were too many powerful beings of the foreign kinds and they couldn't resist at all. Now there were two more and they were two royal families of the foreign kinds. From the expressions of the two foreign heavenly emperors, one could tell that they were extremely terrifying beings. A bunch of trash, get out of my way. One of the non-human kings stepped forward. His purple hair danced in the wind and his body glowed with purple light. At the same time he struck out with his palm. A huge purple palm came crashing down on Lu Ming. That kind of aura was simply earth-shattering, causing people's faces to change. Unparalleled expert. This is an unparalleled expert. Dandan couldn't help but exclaim. Today was the end. This non-human king was a peerless expert above the 4-star heavenly emperor level. His strength was even stronger than the previous peerless expert. He was extremely terrifying. In addition, there was also a non-human royal family that had not made a move, but his strength was definitely terrifying. However, Lu Ming was not the least bit afraid of this move. Or rather, he did not know what fear was. In his heart there was only killing. Power, power, kill, kill. Lu Ming roared madly. His instinct made him constantly borrow the power of the third bloodline. The surging energy gushed out from Lu Ming's third blood meridian and surged into his body. Cracks began to appear on Lu Ming's body and blood kept flowing out. It was impossible for Lu Ming to borrow the third bloodline's power endlessly because his physical strength was limited. If there was too much power, his physical body would explode. He was able to use such a powerful force to suppress the celestial arch. It was all thanks to his powerful physical body. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. Now Lu Ming had already reached his limit. Lu Ming soared into the sky like a wild beast and threw a punch at the palm of the non-human king. Boom. A deafening boom was heard. Lu Ming's body trembled violently and he flew backward like a kite with a broken string. His body cracked and he coughed up blood. The other party had shown mercy. It was obvious that the royal non-human race did not want to kill Lu Ming. They wanted to capture Lu Ming alive for great use. You're putting up a stubborn resistance. The non-human king said coldly. He stretched out his hand again and sent another palm toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming howled fearlessly and once again confronted his opponent. This time Lu Ming was sent flying and his injuries were even more serious. What are you guys doing? Go and kill those people. A space-time spirit rat and a world turtle, we can get rid of them. The non-human king who didn't make a move ordered coldly. The two foreign heavenly emperors' expressions changed, and they stepped out at the same time, charging toward Dandan and the others. As for the non-human royalty who didn't make a move, he headed toward Earth 1 and Thunder 1. They wanted to end this battle once and for all. At this moment, in the distance, a bull's roar came from the distance. The sound was shocking and carried a terrifying power. The low-level non-human beings below the emperor level were all blown apart by the sound. Even the great emperor alien was struck by lightning. His body cracked and he spat out blood. In an instant, countless alien races died on the spot. However, the strange thing was that Dandan and Bubbles were completely fine. As for Lu Ming, after being hit by the cry, his consciousness, which had been completely drowned by the murderous intent, actually showed a trace of clarity. He could barely make out his current situation. This voice, Lu Ming was overjoyed. Old bull, it's that old bull. Dandan laughed crazily. In the distance, a giant bull as tall as the sky stepped over. It seemed very slow, but it was actually astonishingly fast. In an instant it had arrived in front of them. Buzz. The giant bull roared again, and the terrifying sound waves rushed toward the non-human king race and the non-human celestial emperor. The expressions of the two ordinary foreign heavenly emperors changed drastically. They tried their best to block, but they were still sent flying and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. The Titanos. The non-human king who attacked Lu Ming shouted in anger. His entire body glowed and he clapped his hands to resist the sound waves. Boom. Boom. A violent fluctuation was heard. The non-human king's body trembled continuously and he actually retreated. The Titan Longhorn beetle. Yes, this giant beetle was the Titan Longhorn beetle. Lu Ming had never expected that the Titan Longhorn beetle would dare to come to his aid at such a critical moment. Wasn't the Titan Longhorn beetle guarding a forbidden area in the Azure continent? It had actually rushed here. A heavily injured and sick bull. Do you think you can save them by coming here? Stay here today. The non-human royal who didn't make a move earlier spoke coldly. He took a step forward and a terrifying aura burst out from his body. He was even stronger than the one who had attacked earlier. What if him included? A figure suddenly appeared beside the Titan Longhorn beetle. It was a middle-aged man. He was tall and thin, but he was handsome. His eyes were sharp and filled with vicissitudes of life. However, an unfathomable aura emanated from his body. 9 lives, it's you. You're all here to save me, right? Dandan laughed wildly. Interesting. Today 4 of the top 10 war beasts of the heaven realm have come. Let's get rid of them together. The non-human king who didn't make a move earlier spoke coldly. His body glowed with purple light as he took a step forward and threw a punch at the tall, thin, middle-aged man. As for the other non-human king, he charged towards the Titan Longhorn beetle. An intense battle began. Go quickly, go. At this moment, Lu Ming managed to regain a trace of his consciousness. He shouted at Dandan and the rest, then leaped and killed the 2 ordinary celestial thearchs of the alien race. Chapter 2406, Captured. Lu Ming's entire body was shrouded in a blood-colored mist. He turned into a stream of light and pounced toward the 2 foreign celestial thearchs. Along the way, the bodies of some of the other alien races exploded. The 2 foreign celestial thearchs' expressions changed drastically. They did not hope to achieve anything, but they hoped that they would not make any mistakes. The 2 of them joined forces to defend with all their might. However, they were still hit by Lu Ming with one move and spat out mouthfuls of blood. They almost died. Retreat. The Titan Longhorn beetle's voice resounded through the sky. Its horns were like scimitars as it slashed at its opponent. You want to save people with your severely injured bodies? Don't even think about leaving today. The non-human king let out a roar. His entire body was covered in purple light, and his battle power was incomparably powerful. He fought an intense battle with the Titan Longhorn beetle. If the Titan Longhorn beetle was at its peak during the ancient times, he wouldn't be its opponent at all. However, in the battle of the ancient times, the Titan Longhorn beetle had been seriously injured and had yet to recover. He had no fear at all. Buzz. The Titan Longhorn beetle roared. Its roar shook the heavens and the void collapsed. His power was terrifying. In the distance, Earth One and Thunder One were still fighting with an unparalleled expert of the foreign tribe. However, at this moment, the roar of the Titan Longhorn beetle came rushing over. The unparalleled expert's expression changed as he tried his best to block it and retreated a few steps. With that, Earth One and Thunder One finally found an opportunity to escape. They retreated 10,000 miles and came to Lu Ming's side. Young master, let's go. Earth One roared. Let's go. At this moment, Lu Ming was affected by the Titan Longhorn beetle and managed to regain a trace of clarity. He also understood the current situation and that it was better to leave. Buzz. 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 They quickly retreated. Stay. At this moment, a loud shout came from the sky. Then the sky cracked open and a huge purple hand stretched out from the sky. It covered the sky and the sun. It was extremely huge and it grabbed at Lu Ming, 2E and Lei. The pressure was so strong that it was terrifying. It was the most powerful expert that Lu Ming had encountered so far. How is that possible? Lu Ming's pupils contracted rapidly. The other party didn't attack through that passage but directly broke through the void. If the enemy was in the evil god world, they could actually break through the void and attack. This kind of strength was just too terrifying, not good. Heavenly Emperor at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm, retreat. Dandan shouted. However, there was no way to retreat in the face of this huge palm. Young master, leave quickly. Earth One roared and then burst out with all his strength. He pushed the meteor hammer to the extreme and blasted it toward the large hand. At the same time, Lei activated the Heaven Dao soldier with all his might and attacked the hand. Roar. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. His body was covered with bone spikes, making him look extremely ferocious. He also attacked the big hand. The 3 of them joined forces and their power reached the extreme. They bombarded the giant purple hand. Boom. 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 3 earth-shaking explosions occurred in a row, and the air waves whistled like mountains and seas. The 2 Heaven Dao soldiers trembled violently before flying back. Earth One and Thunder One were jolted back by the force and were sent flying tens of thousands of miles. Lu Ming's body trembled violently as well. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and his body flew backward. However, just as his body was about to fly backward, the huge purple hand burst out with an extremely powerful suction force. It sucked Lu Ming in and flew towards the huge purple hand. Not good. The Titan Longhorn beetle and the tall and thin man named 9 Lives wanted to help, but they were held back by 2 foreign tribe royal family members. Buzz. Lu Ming flew directly to the palm of the big hand. Roar. Lu Ming burst out in a frenzy and attacked with all his might, but it was useless. The big hand was firm and immortal and its strength was extremely strong. He could not break it at all. The next moment the big hand clenched and grabbed Lu Ming. At this moment, A terrifying and boundless energy gushed into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body trembled, and the last bit of consciousness he had turned blurry and he lost consciousness. After the big hand grabbed Lu Ming, it shrank back. Young master. Earth One and Thunder One roared and wanted to save him. Don't be rash. The person who attacked is a peak heavenly emperor. Although he attacked from a great distance and his power is greatly reduced, Lu Ming has already been captured by him. We can't save him with our strength. Retreat first. The Titanos roared. The aura on his body became stronger and stronger. He suddenly roared and forced his opponent to retreat. Titan, take them away first. I'll block the foreign tribe. The tall and thin middle-aged man said. The aura on his body became stronger and stronger, and his attacking power became more and more astonishing. He actually managed to block the two non-human royal families. With a heavily injured body, he can barely unleash an outburst. He can forget about recovering to his peak in his entire life. A non-human king roared. However, the two of them were blocked by the tall and thin man. The Titan Longhorn beetle's huge body rushed towards Dandan and the others. Buzz. Even the first non-human expert couldn't block his roar. His body trembled and he retreated. The bodies of the two ordinary foreign heavenly emperors exploded, and their bodies and souls were destroyed. A large number of non-humans below the heavenly emperor level died. The Titan Longhorn beetle's huge body came to Dandan and the other side. A wave of power rolled them up and rushed toward Earth One and Thunder One. Brother Lu Ming. Pow Pow cried out, her eyes staring straight ahead. At this moment, the big hand that was grabbing Lu Ming had already retracted and disappeared in the space of eternal nothingness. Oh. The Titan Longhorn beetle also sighed inwardly. It wasn't that he didn't want to save her, but that he couldn't. The other party was too strong. He was in existence at the peak of the heavenly emperor realm, a true peak expert. If he was at his peak, he could compete with the other party. Unfortunately, he had been seriously injured in the ancient battle and had not recovered yet. His strength had been greatly reduced and he was not the other party's opponent at all. Let's go, inform the Heaven Realm experts and send people to guard this place. The Titan Longhorn beetle activated another wave of power and swept up Earth One and Thunder One, flying into the distance at top speed. Damn it! The two non-human kings roared and attacked crazily, trying to kill the tall and thin man. However, the tall and thin man's strength was above the Titan Longhorn beetle's. At this moment he didn't care about his injuries and erupted with a shocking attack, forcing back the two people in one fell swoop. His figure flickered, shattering the void and disappearing. The two non-human kings' faces were extremely dark. The rest of you retreat to our realm first. When the passage is fully opened, attack here. The Heaven Realm and the Primordial Realm will fall into the hands of our race sooner or later. A non-human king shouted and then turned around. Not long after, Dandan, Bubbles, 2E Lei, the Titan Longhorn beetle, and the tall and thin man gathered on a mountain peak in the Yuan continent. Titan 9 lives this time, many thanks for your rescue. Dandan sighed. I also accidentally discovered the abnormality here, so I asked the Titan to come with me. I didn't expect to encounter this scene. The tall thin man sighed. This tall and thin man was the 9 lives devilish silkworm, one of the top 10 battle beasts. Brother Lu Ming, will he be all right? Bubble was extremely worried. I don't think so. Lu Ming's bloodline has an astonishing origin. Judging from the conversation just now, the other party wouldn't kill Lu Ming. Dandan said. During the previous battle, the other party had shouted not to kill Lu Ming and would kill everyone else without mercy. This made Dandan think of many things. I hope so. Earth One and Thunder One sighed. Let's go back to the Heaven Realm and spread the news. Dandan said. Then everyone's figures flashed and they left the place. Chapter 2407. Evil God World Awakens. In an ancient secret chamber in the Evil God Realm, Lu Ming lay in the middle of the room, his entire body shrouded in a thick blood aura and killing intent. There were more than 10 figures standing around Lu Ming. More than half of these figures were purple-haired non-human royalty. The few people who were at the entrance of the passage earlier were all here. The other alien races also had powerful auras and were terrifying. These were the top experts of the evil god tribe. Even the weakest of them had a cultivation base of 4-star heavenly emperor or above. At that moment, more than a dozen of the foreign kinds were staring at Lu Ming with burning eyes. It's really the sacred ancestor blood heart. I didn't expect that the sacred ancestor blood heart didn't die in the battle that year. She left behind her natal bloodline and was reborn in the body of a human. This is really unexpected. An old man sighed. This old man was also a member of the royal family, but he was very old. His face was full of wrinkles and his purple hair had lost its luster. Ah, the heavens are really blessing our race. Saint Ancestor Bloodheart is still alive, and our race will definitely be able to level the heavenly realm, break the realm and open the sky, achieving supreme glory. That's right. When the time comes, it'll be as easy as turning over a hand to flatten the heaven realm. Ancestral Dragon, don't even think about stopping our tribe. The other non-humans were all excited and laughed. They were waiting for the sacred ancestor Bloodheart to wake up. However, at this moment their expressions changed drastically. This was because Lu Ming's body was emitting another kind of radiance. Buzz. Lu Ming's body trembled and a stone tablet appeared, growing rapidly. The stone tablet kept shaking and emitted layers of black light that surged toward Lu Ming's body. That's right, this steel was the prison-guarding steel. The light emitted by the prison-suppressing steel gushed into Lu Ming's body and emitted a terrifying suppressive force, suppressing the blood-red light of the third bloodline. Kill, kill, kill. The blood-red radiance roared continuously, as if it wanted to destroy Lu Ming and replace him. However, the prison-suppressing steel glowed brightly and its suppressing power was extremely strong. It kept suppressing the blood-red chi. The blood-red aura emitted by the third bloodline was suppressed by the prison-suppressing steel's power. It slowly wriggled and retracted back into Lu Ming's body. The blood aura in Lu Ming's body slowly became thinner. More than a dozen outsiders were dumbfounded. The prison-guarding steel. It's the prison-guarding steel. Damn it. Why is the prison-guarding steel in this man's body? Damn it. I understand now. The prison-suppressing steel is also his bloodline. It's specially used to suppress the Saint Ancestor Bloodheart. What a powerful scheme. Damn it, let's take this prison-suppressing steel out. Not bad. A dozen foreign kinds shouted. Boom. 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 3 outsiders attacked at the same time. Their cultivation bases were shockingly powerful, and each of them was a 5-star Celestial Emperor and a 6-star Celestial Emperor. The 3 of them attacked. Their powers formed a sealing force that enveloped the prison-suppressing steel, trying to separate it from Lu Ming's body. Buzz. 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 The prison-suppressing steel shook violently and Lu Ming's body shook slightly. Strip. The 3 of them roared and exploded with their full power. However, at this moment the prison-suppressing steel suddenly trembled and shone brightly. A terrifying power spread out from the prison-suppressing steel, as if it could suppress the heavens. Bang. 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 The 3 foreign kinds' powerful beings trembled as if they had suffered a terrible attack. They retreated and spat out a mouthful of blood, their faces pale. No wonder it's the prison-guarding steel. That person's natal weapon is extraordinary. Even if it's not complete, the power it contains is still shocking. Let's attack together. A dignified non-human royal family member said. All right, let's attack together. The others nodded. Immediately, a terrifying aura was emitted from the bodies of the dozen foreign kinds. The weakest among them was a 4-star Great Emperor, and the strongest was a peak Heavenly Emperor. A dozen of them together could sweep across the world. At the same time, more than a dozen people attacked together. More than a dozen rays of light turned into a sealing force, trying to seal the prison-suppressing steel and then strip it out. Buzz. Whoosh. The prison-suppressing steel started to shake crazily. Then it began to grow in size and a terrifying power burst out from it. The strength of this force was actually above that of more than a dozen foreign races. Buzz. In the end, the prison-suppressing steel suddenly shook, and an even more terrifying power spread out, directly destroying the sealing power of more than a dozen foreign tribes. Moreover, more than a dozen foreign people were shaken by the power of the prison-guarding steel and kept retreating. A few of the weaker ones hit the wall of the secret room, their faces pale and blood oozing from their mouths. More than a dozen foreign kinds had unsightly expressions. With their strength, they could not do anything to the prison-suppressing steel. Damn it, the power of the prison-guarding steel is too strong. Not to mention us, even an unrivaled master would not be able to extract it unless it was someone of the same level. An old man said with an ugly expression. The other people's faces were a little gloomy. Where could they find people of the same level? Could it be that they had to ask the old ancestor to make a move? However, the old ancestor had been seriously injured in the battle back then and had been in a deep sleep. How could he make a move now? What do we do? Someone asked. There's only one way to strip the prison-suppressing steel, and that's to make this kid do it willingly. As long as he cooperates, it'll be easy to strip the prison-suppressing steel, and Saint Ancestor Bloodheart will wake up. The dignified non-human royal clan member said. This kid will cooperate? The others didn't quite believe it. There's no other way. We can only wait for him to wake up. The dignified royal said. With no other choice, everyone could only wait. The prison-suppressing steel hovered above Lu Ming. Its radiance grew brighter and brighter, forming waves of suppressive force that surged into Lu Ming's body. The blood-colored mist on Lu Ming's body slowly faded. Lu Ming's consciousness had fallen into darkness. He seemed to be floating in the darkness. He had no concept of time and did not know how long he had been floating. After an unknown period of time, a beam of light shot through the darkness. Lu Ming dashed toward the beam of light. Boom. Lu Ming felt a shock in his head and his consciousness recovered in an instant. What happened? That's right, we discovered that the alien races were trying to open the passage. We went to stop them and a terrifying battle occurred. I've been borrowing the power of the third bloodline like crazy. There is also the Titan Longhorn. I've been caught, Lu Ming muttered. Everything appeared in his mind. Dandan, Bubbles, Earth One, Thunder One, and the rest, how are they? With the Titan Longhorn and the others around, it should be fine, right? Lu Ming was worried and he opened his eyes abruptly. What came into view was a secret room. In the secret room, there were pieces of luminous stones inlaid, which illuminated the secret room as if it was daytime. A purple-haired middle-aged man with a square face and an imposing manner looked at Lu Ming with his hands behind his back. There was no one else other than him. You're finally awake. You're Lu Ming, right? The dignified middle-aged man spoke. Even his voice was filled with dignity. Who are you? Wait, you're from a different race. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed as he saw a third eye in between the other party's eyebrows. The royal family of the alien race. A thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. Chapter 2408, Hard or Soft Won't Work. I am Emologia, the realm-breaking general of the evil god realm. The dignified middle-aged man said. Breaking the general, breaking my heaven realm? Lu Ming sneered. Moroja's eyes were calm and he didn't say anything. Is this the evil god world? You were the one who caught me, right? Lu Ming said. He sensed carefully and found that this place was indeed different from the heaven realm and the primordial realm. The space here was filled with a strange energy that was very different from the original chi of the heaven realm and the primordial realm. But Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. He realized that the laws of heaven and earth here were exactly the same as those in the heaven realm and the primordial realm. He had originally thought that the evil god tribe and the heaven realm and the primordial realm were two different worlds, and the laws of heaven and earth would be completely different. He had not expected that they would be exactly the same. That's strange. Lu Ming was surprised, but this was a good thing for him. That's right, one was the one who caught you, said Morogia. He stared at Lu Ming and continued, now one need your cooperation. One cooperate. Lu Ming's lips curled into a mocking smile. Tell me. Cooperate with me and let me take the prison-suppressing steel out of your body. Morogia said. You know I have the prison-guarding steel? Lu Ming's gaze flickered. From the beginning to the end he had never used the prison-suppressing steel. How did the other party know? Was the other party's cultivation so strong that he could see through him, or did something happen while he was unconscious? Wait, how did one wake up? I've been borrowing the power of the third bloodline like crazy, and my consciousness has been devoured by the endless killing intent of the third bloodline. I'm about to turn into a killing puppet. How did I wake up? It's impossible for him to have saved me. Could it be the prison-suppressing steel? Lu Ming suddenly recalled that when he first obtained a drop of ancestral dragon blood, it had triggered the third bloodline to go berserk. However, it was the prison-suppressing steel that had suppressed the third bloodline. Could it be that the prison-suppressing steel had saved him again? Did the prison-suppressing steel suppress the power of the third bloodline so he could wake up? It was highly possible. That was why he knew he had the prison-guarding steel. What exactly is the third bloodline? Wait a minute, Sacred Ancestor Bloodheart. During the previous battle, the other party shouted at Sacred Ancestor Bloodheart. Could he be referring to the third bloodline? What is the third bloodline? What did it have to do with the alien races? Does he want me to be devoured by the third bloodline by taking away the prison-suppressing steel? At this moment many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. He was so smart that he had managed to guess the situation correctly based on some scattered clues. It seems that if one don't cooperate, you can't take away the prison-suppressing steel. The smile at the corners of Lu Ming's mouth grew wider. Moroja did not answer directly. Instead he said coldly, "You just need to cooperate." I took the initiative to cooperate. I'm afraid that after the prison-guarding steel is stripped away, it will also be the time of my death. I'm not that stupid. Lu Ming laughed heartily. "You're not worthy, so you'll only die," Moroja said coldly. "Oh really? Then you can kill me now," Lu Ming said. "You?" A cold glint flashed in Moroja's eyes. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so difficult to deal with at such a young age. If they could kill Lu Ming, they would have done so long ago. However, after killing Lu Ming, the sacred ancestor blood heart would not be able to wake up. "Tell me, why do you want to take away the prison-suppressing steel? Who is the Saint Elder blood heart? What's the relationship between this and my third bloodline?" Lu Ming stared at the other party and asked a few questions in succession. Since he had fallen into the hands of the foreign races, he was willing to risk his life. At most he would die. "You shouldn't be asking these questions." Moroja's eyes were cold. He stared at Lu Ming and said, "It seems that you don't agree. Even if I agree, I'm afraid I'll still die. Without the prison-suppressing steel, I'll be devoured by the endless killing intent. Instead of turning into a killing puppet, it's better for you to kill me directly." Lu Ming smiled faintly and did not care. "If you agree, I can guarantee that you won't die. One can even extract your soul and find you a suitable body for you to reincarnate," Moroja said. "I appreciate your good intentions." Lu Ming smiled faintly. To extract his soul and exchange it for a new body? What a joke. He might as well kill him. Moreover, he was sure that the alien race was so eager to take away the prison-suppressing steel and let the third bloodline devour him. There must be a conspiracy. Saint Ancestor Bloodheart, could it be that my third bloodline was reborn in my body by a terrifying alien expert who wanted to use my body to revive? But my second bloodline is the prison-guarding steel, which can suppress my third bloodline. Lu Ming's imagination ran wild. If that was the case, it was even more impossible for him to agree. Otherwise, the heaven realm and the primordial realm would probably suffer. "Don't think that we can't do anything if you don't agree." Mo Luojia waved his sleeves and left with a cold face. The door of the secret chamber was closed, leaving Lu Ming alone. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He walked to the side of the secret room and observed the walls. The walls of the secret room were made of an unknown material, and there were many mysterious runes drawn on them. Lu Ming shook his head. He understood that since the other party was so assured to lock him up here, it was probably wishful thinking for him to break out of this secret chamber and escape. Since I'm here 111 take things as they are. Since the nomological laws here are the same as those in the heaven realm and the primordial realm, one can still cultivate. Moreover, the other party didn't kill me in this situation. If they do, it'll 11 be disadvantageous to their so-called sacred ancestor blood heart. At the thought of this, Lu Ming felt much more at ease. As long as he didn't die, he would have a chance. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and adjusted himself to his best condition. He began to comprehend the law of karma. Now, out of the 10 ultimate maxims, Lu Ming only had not successfully comprehended the law of karma and the law of fate. After Mo Luojia walked out of the secret room, he came to a large hall. In the hall, more than a dozen non-human experts were waiting. "Great General, how is it? Did that kid agree to it?" An old man asked. "That kid is young, but he's extremely shrewd. I'm afraid he's already guessed a lot. He won't agree at all. He won't be swayed by force or persuasion." Moroja frowned. "You won't be affected by force or persuasion. That brat is courting death. I'll go and kill him." A burly foreign being was furious, but he swallowed his words halfway and smiled awkwardly. If he killed Lu Ming, how would the sacred ancestor blood heart awaken? "Great General, what should we do now?" someone asked. "Imprison that kid here. Well, study him and see if we can find a way to extract the prison-suppressing steel from him. At the same time, send a message to the other royal families and ask them to think of a way," Moroja said. "All right, we can only do this. I don't believe that we can't remove a broken prison-suppressing steel." The other alien races nodded and left. Chapter 2409. 800 years have passed. Lu Ming stayed in the secret room and focused on cultivation. Usually no one came to disturb him and it was quiet. Cultivation knew no time. Time flew by and in the blink of an eye 2 years had passed. Lu Ming's control over the law of karma was getting deeper and deeper. At that moment Miroja came to look for Lu Ming for the first time. This time he brought more than 10 people with him. They were all experts with extremely high cultivation. They used a special array in an attempt to extract the prison-suppressing steel from Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming did not resist, but he did not cooperate and let the other party cast it. Unfortunately, the other party still failed in the end and could not do anything to the prison-suppressing steel. "Brat, are you going to cooperate or not? If you don't, it'll make you die without a burial place." A burly alien roared, his killing intent incomparably ferocious. "If you want to kill, then kill. Why waste your breath?" Lu Ming said indifferently. "You..." The alien almost vomited blood in anger. If it were not for the blood-heart saint ancestor, he would have slapped Lu Ming into a pulp. In the end, these foreign kinds had no choice but to leave. Lu Ming continued to cultivate. The effects of cultivating here were naturally not as good as on the Void Island. However, as time passed, Lu Ming's control over the various laws became deeper and deeper. In the blink of an eye, another 3 years had passed. Lu Ming had been locked up here for 5 years. In the past 5 years, apart from comprehending the laws, Lu Ming had been studying the divine abilities that were constructed from different laws. As for the 7 gods' mysterious technique, Lu Ming would also take some time to cultivate it. However, without the help of a top-grade treasure, it would take a long time to practice the 7 gods' mysterious technique. Lu Ming was not in a hurry. He would slowly polish it. As long as he cultivated to his limits, he would naturally break through. After 5 years, Lu Ming had finally cultivated the law of karma to the 3rd level. Then Lu Ming began to comprehend the law of fate. The laws of fate were extremely difficult to comprehend unless one was born with a body of fate. Lu Ming spent a full year before he managed to gain a basic understanding of the law of fate. However, after getting started, every step was extremely difficult to improve. However, the law of fate was indeed very wondrous. It was said to be able to control the fate of all living beings. After Lu Ming had cultivated the law of fate to the beginner level and fused it with the other top 10 laws, he had a feeling that he seemed to have fused with this world. He could vaguely sense the existence of the heavenly Tao. Lu Ming was very intoxicated by this feeling. He was even more focused on cultivating. However, his comprehension of the law of fate was too slow. In the meantime, Lu Ming also comprehended some other king path laws. He comprehended several king paths and the laws of fate together. Naturally, Lu Ming's speed of comprehending the king path laws was shockingly fast. It would not take long for him to cultivate to the 3rd realm. As for the laws of fate, they were rising at a constant rate. Spring and autumn came and time passed by quickly year after year. In the beginning, the alien race would try to extract the prison-defending monument every few years. However, after failing 5 to 6 times in a row, the alien race seemed to have lost their patience and locked Lu Ming up in a secret chamber. It had been a long time since they last came. Just like that, Lu Ming spent 100 years in the secret chamber. Yes, 100 years. Ever since Lu Ming embarked on the path of cultivation, he had only cultivated for a few decades before he was captured and brought to the other world. However, this time he had been imprisoned for 100 years. To a martial emperor realm expert, 100 years' time was just like the snap of a finger. Lu Ming had been cultivating wholeheartedly for the past 100 years. He did not feel bored at all. In the past 100 years, Lu Ming's cultivation level had not increased. However, his control of the law had reached a shocking level. The laws of fate had also been cultivated to the 3rd level by him. In addition, he had mastered more than 70 king path laws. In total, Lu Ming had mastered a total of 81 types of king path laws and ultimate laws. Moreover, he had cultivated them to the 3rd realm. The moment these laws fused and exploded, their power was extremely powerful. Lu Ming felt that he could easily kill a 4-star great emperor, or even a 5-star great emperor with the power of law alone, without using his physical strength. One had to know that he was only a true emperor. It was unbelievable that a true emperor could easily kill a great emperor. I wonder what level my combat power will reach once I break through to the great emperor realm. Lu Ming could not help but look forward to it. The others controlled an ultimate law in addition to 8 other king path laws. After breaking through to great emperor, they would control the strongest great Tao. As for him, he had mastered 10 supreme laws and 71 king path laws. Once he broke through to the great emperor realm, what kind of great path would he have? Now I don't need to control more laws. My goal is to master all these laws and make them perfect. Then I can break through to the great emperor realm. Lu Ming pondered. The laws he controlled were simply too many. It was difficult to truly achieve a smooth integration, and it would take some time. For the past 100 years, his 7 gods mysterious technique was still at the middle of the 5th stage. However, his foundation was already extremely solid and he had reached his limit. He believed that he would be able to break through soon. As soon as he reached the late stage of the 5th level of the 7 gods mysterious art, he would be able to suppress other peak emperors with his physical strength alone. With the power of laws, great emperors were invincible. If he were to make a breakthrough in the later nomological systems, his strength would skyrocket to an unimaginable level. At the same time, a group of demonic humans was discussing something in a large hall. Among them was Miragia and a few others. However, among these people, Mo Luojia's status was not the highest. There were a few people whose status was even higher than Mo Luojia's, and they were all extremely terrifying existences. The matter that these people were discussing was about Lu Ming. It's already been 100 years and that kid is still not cooperating? At the very top, there was a middle-aged man who was extremely handsome and wore a crown. This person was the king of a foreign race. My king, that brat knows that we don't dare to kill him, so he won't agree no matter what. Morogia bowed and said. The king nodded. He didn't agree because he still has hope. Hope for the heaven realm. He hopes that one day someone from the heaven realm will come here to save him. Someone from the heaven realm came to save him. In his dreams, our race will flatten the heaven realm sooner or later. An alien expert said. However, our tribe hasn't raised the heaven realm yet. He naturally has hope. Now we can only make him feel despair. Only when he is in despair and we give him hope will he agree. The non-human king said. Pai King, what should we do? Moroja asked. Let him out and let him feel the strength of our clan. Let him clearly understand that the heaven realm is not our clan's opponent. Then he will naturally despair. Then give him hope, find him a good body, let his soul possess it and give him some benefits. Agree to some conditions and he will naturally agree. The non-human king said, appearing very confident. The king is wise. I'll do it right away. Mo Luojia and the others bowed. Chapter 24:10 Outlander 10 Royal Families. At this point the foreign tribes had no other choice. As for Lu Ming, he could not kill him and he could not extract the prison-suppressing steel. He could only extract the prison-suppressing steel if Lu Ming was willing to cooperate. How could he make Lu Ming volunteer? That was to make Lu Ming feel despair and let him see the terrifying strength of the alien races. He wanted to let Lu Ming understand that the heaven realm was no match for the alien races and that the heaven realm was destined to be destroyed by them. Lu Ming could not change the outcome even if he did not agree. Then he would give Lu Ming hope, a way out for him, resources and his family. Only then would Lu Ming yield and agree to the alien race's conditions. Let him move freely in Arjia, but send an expert to follow him in case he gets killed by others. The non-human king instructed. This was the evil god world, and if a human were to walk on the streets he would really be killed. Yes. Moroga and the others bowed and accepted the order. All right, let's do that. The non-human king instructed before leaving. On this day, Lu Ming was cultivating when the door of the secret chamber opened again. Mo Luojia and an old man walked in. Here it comes again. In my opinion, you don't have to waste your time. You can't take away the prison-suppressing steel. Lu Ming sneered. I'm not here today to take away the prison-suppressing steel. I'm here to let you out. Morogia said. Let me out. Lu Ming was stunned. He was quite surprised. He didn't expect that the other party would let him out. That's right, you can go to my realm, but you can only stay in my realm. If you want to go back to the heaven realm, stop daydreaming. Let's go. After saying that, Morogia turned around and left. What are these alien races up to? Lu Ming was very puzzled. However, it was better to leave this place than stay in this secret chamber for the rest of his life. There was nothing to think about. Lu Ming followed Morogia and left. Lu Ming's eyes flickered as he walked out of the secret room and came to a platform. Because the scenery that entered his eyes was truly magnificent. This secret room should be located at an extremely high position. From where they stood, they were high up in the clouds and had a wide field of view, allowing them to see into the distance. What came into view was a large number of buildings. These buildings were very strange, completely different from the buildings in the heaven realm. They looked more barbaric, more majestic, and very magnificent. Such buildings were endless and could not be forgotten. There was a huge city here, even bigger than the ancient city in the heaven realm. In the city there were people constantly flashing. All of them were alien races. There were black-scaled alien races with burly bodies, purple-scaled alien races, four-armed alien races with short bodies, and also alien races that looked like shadows. There were too many. These alien races did not conceal their auras. One after another, terrifying auras soared into the sky. Lu Ming could clearly sense them. So many experts. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. With just a casual sense, Lu Ming realized that there were a shocking number of experts among these alien races. A large group of them were all at the martial emperor realm. There were also a large number of true emperors. There were even many great emperors. There were too many powerhouses. This is the royal city of my tribe, Moroja explained. The capital? No wonder. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The capital was usually a place where experts gathered. It was normal for there to be many experts. However, this is only one of the royal cities of my race. Moroja then added. One of the royal families? What do you mean? Lu Ming asked instinctively. There are a total of 10 royal clans in the evil god tribe. Naturally, we have 10 royal cities. This is one of the royal cities of our tribe. I might as well tell you that only 3 of the 10 royal clans have been attacking the heaven realm all these years. That's not all, Moroja said. What? This time Lu Ming was really shocked. There were actually 10 royal clans in the alien race, and only 3 of them had attacked the heaven realm in the past few years. This meant that there were 7 other royal families that hadn't attacked the alien races. The 3 royal families attacking the heaven realm had already forced the heaven realm into a disadvantageous position. If the 10 royal families all attacked the heaven realm, wouldn't the heaven realm be unable to resist? This was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. At this moment he was really anxious. Seeing Lu Ming's expression, Moroja smiled. This was what he wanted to see. Shocked despair. Now you know the strength of my clan. If the heaven realm wants to fight with my clan, it's like an egg hitting a stone. Moroja laughed coldly. How could this be? No, the heaven realm must still have some hidden power. Otherwise, it would have been destroyed by the alien races. Yes, it's definitely not that simple. There must be some hidden story. Otherwise, the alien races wouldn't have dragged on for so many years without destroying the heaven realm. Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind as he tried to calm himself down. A moment later, Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief and his eyes calmed down. This kid, Moroja was shocked. Lu Ming's mental fortitude was beyond his expectations. He calmed down so quickly after hearing that the alien race was so powerful. Let's see how you're going to remain calm when you see the true strength of my clan. Moroja snorted in his heart and ordered, Zhou, from now on he will follow him. Do you understand? Yes, great general. The old man beside Moroja bowed. Buzz. Moroja took a step forward and disappeared. Since we're already here, let's take a good look around. If we can learn more about the secrets of the alien races, it will be helpful when we return to the heaven realm in the future. At the thought of this, Lu Ming leaped off the platform and flew down. Zhou was not far behind Lu Ming. After jumping off the platform, Lu Ming walked toward a street. The alien race's buildings were ancient and tall. Each building was hundreds of meters tall and the streets were wide. Lu Ming swaggered around the streets. On the other hand, the alien races on the street were stunned. Their eyes widened to the size of copper bells as they stared at Lu Ming. This person isn't from my clan? He looks like a human. Yes, a human. A human actually dares to stroll around our king city. What's going on? The non-humans on the streets were all discussing. Furthermore, this piece of news spread like a whirlwind. In a short while, this area was surrounded by all kinds of alien races. Hey, move aside, move aside. You're blocking the way. Do you have any manners? Lu Ming was very arrogant. He berated her directly. This human is so arrogant. A human dares to berate us in our king city. He's courting death. A short-tempered non-human kind being shouted, showing his cold killing intent. However, at the sight of Zhou, who was following Lu Ming, they shivered in fear. Zhou's aura was too terrifying. Chapter 24:11. meeting Tian Luo again. It was obvious that Jia Yi was an extremely terrifying existence among the alien races. Because of Jia Yi's presence, no one dared to attack Lu Ming. However, many of the alien races were very curious about Lu Ming's background. How could a human swagger into a capital city of the alien race with an expert following him? Move! Lu Ming shouted and continued to stroll around. However, more and more alien races gathered around him, and there was no lack of heavenly emperor-level existences. Kid, it's you. Suddenly, a voice filled with disbelief was heard. In front, the crowd made way for a group of people. The one in the lead had purple hair that danced in the wind. He was a member of a foreign royal family and was very young. It's him, the prince of the foreign tribe. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Back in the Two-World City, when the foreign races attacked the city, they sent their younger generation to challenge the Heaven Realm in an attempt to demoralize the Heaven Realm. At that time there was a powerful alien prince. Unfortunately, Lu Ming captured him and exchanged him for 2 chaos gems. The man in front of him was the prince, Tian Luo. Behind Tian Luo there were a few other figures. Some were from the royal alien races while others were from other races. All of them had powerful auras. Greetings, 8th Prince. All around, many of the foreign races bowed in respect. There were many different races in the alien race and all of them had the same bloodline. However, the royal family of the alien race was the race with the closest bloodline to their ancestor. Therefore, the royal family had the highest status among the many races. As for Tian Luo as a prince, he was a king among kings. His status was much higher than that of ordinary royal families. The normal alien races would naturally be respectful. Tian Luo did not care about the others. His eyes were fixed on Lu Ming. Kid, why are you here? Tian Luo's face was gloomy as he asked in a cold voice. Why am I here? You should ask your ancestors this question. Do you think I want to stay here? Lu Ming pursed his lips. Kid, mind your words. Tian Luo scolded and then looked at Jia Yi. Senior, could it be that you're here to ensure his safety? Tian Luo asked. Yes. Jia Yi nodded. They'll only protect his life. I won't care about any injuries. Oh. Tian Luo's eyes lit up. Even though he was curious as to why Jia Yi would protect a human's life, he only protected his life and didn't care about anything else, so it was easy to handle. He wanted Lu Ming to suffer a fate worse than death. Tian Luo's eyes flashed with a cold light. Back then he was taken hostage by Lu Ming in exchange for 100 chaos gems. He had been brooding over this and had been looking for an opportunity to take revenge. Who would have thought that the opportunity would be presented right in front of him? How could he let it go? Bang! Tian Luo stepped forward. His purple hair was flying in the wind, and his body was covered in a purple light. As the third eye on his forehead opened, a cold light flashed. Kid, come out and fight. Tian Luo said in a cold voice. Many people in the surroundings became excited. Tian Luo was one of the top geniuses of the evil god tribe. Back then he was ranked 9th among the younger generation of the evil god world. In the vast evil god tribe, Tian Luo was ranked 9th, which showed his talent. Although Tian Luo could no longer be considered a member of the younger generation at his current age, he was still a young man. The 8th prince is about to make his move. Seems that this human has a grudge with the 8th prince. How many moves do you think the 8th prince can take him down? No more than 10 moves. Might be an instant kill. You must know that the 8th prince now has the battle strength of a rank 18 true emperor. The surrounding alien races were all discussing. A level 18 true emperor? The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly with a faint disdain. I'd better find someone stronger. You're not my match. Lu Ming said indifferently. His words made the cold light in Tian Luo's eyes shine even more. Brat, you're talking big. I'd like to see how much you've improved over the years. With that, Tian Luo took a step forward. His body was like a purple stream of light as he rushed toward Lu Ming. Boom! Tian Luo struck out with his palm. Purple light filled his palm and turned into a terrifying palm print, blasting toward Lu Ming. The alien races cultivated a system that was very similar to the Heaven Realm's ancient system. Their actions might seem simple, but their every move was extremely powerful. Peak True Emperor, rank 18 True Emperor. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth twitched slightly. For martial sovereigns, each seclusion could last for thousands or tens of thousands of years. Tian Luo's speed of advancing from a stage 9 true emperor to a stage 18 true emperor in just over 100 years was already very fast and shocking. Unfortunately, he had encountered Lu Ming. Lu Ming could not be measured by common sense. Lu Ming did not use his physical strength. His body glowed with the radiance of various laws. In an instant, there were more than 10 kinds of radiances on his body that were intertwined. Whoosh! Lu Ming simply pointed his finger. With the augmentation of more than 10 types of laws, Lu Ming's simple finger attack became extremely powerful. Lu Ming's fingers were like long spears, piercing Tian Luo's palm. There was no earth-shattering sound, nor was there any scene of wanton force. The collision between the two was very quiet. It was as if a needle had pierced a balloon. With a poof, blood splattered everywhere. Tian Luo's palm print and his palm were directly pierced by Lu Ming's finger. The destructive force surged toward Tian Luo. Tian Luo let out a blood-curdling screech as his body flew backward and crashed heavily onto the ground. His body twitched and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The entire place was silent. Tian Luo, the prince of the alien race, was actually defeated by Lu Ming in one move. He was killed in seconds. How was this possible? More than 100 years ago, Tian Luo was ranked 9th among the younger generation in the entire evil god world. He was extremely talented. Although he was no longer in the younger generation, his combat strength had undoubtedly become stronger. However, he was defeated by Lu Ming in one move. This made everyone stunned, as if they found it difficult to accept. How is that possible? Tian Luo couldn't accept it and roared in his heart. All these years he had been working hard and his cultivation had improved very quickly. He was already at the peak of the true emperor realm and had the battle power of a rank 18 true emperor. He would be able to break through to the great emperor realm soon. He was confident that he could reach the great emperor realm before he was 200 years old. Great emperors who were younger than 1,000 years old were already very impressive, let alone great emperors who were younger than 200 years old. He was already stunning enough, but he was still killed by Lu Ming in one move. Back then he had fought many rounds with Lu Ming before Lu Ming defeated him. Initially he thought that he was strong enough to defeat Lu Ming and take revenge. He never expected this to be the result. Could it be that Lu Ming had already broken through to the great emperor realm? Many people couldn't help but think so. Only a great emperor could defeat Tian Luo so easily, right? However, Lu Ming's aura was clearly only at the true emperor realm. This puzzled many people. Chapter 24:11 Longevity Roll. Kid, you're quite strong. Let me fight you. Just as everyone was speculating, a voice was heard. Then the crowd saw a burly figure step out. This figure was more than 2 meters tall and was covered in purple scales. He had come with Tian Luo. Budwa, it's Buduo. Buduo is about to make his move. Buduo's talent is not as high as the 8th prince's, and he has been cultivating for 1,000 years. He has already broken through to the great emperor realm not long ago. He should be able to suppress that kid. Many people were excited to see this figure. Buduo, don't show mercy. Attack with all your strength. Kill him. I'll take responsibility if anything happens. Tian Luo roared, his face incomparably malevolent. He could not wait to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. Buduo's body was tall and sturdy, and his 3 eyes flickered with cold light. He took a step forward and the ground trembled. A pitch-black iron rod appeared in his hand. With a slight shake of the iron rod, a pitch-black hole appeared in the space. It was extremely horrifying. On the side, many people retreated. A great emperor's attack was no small matter. Some of the weaker cultivators didn't want to be involved. Lu Ming looked at Buduo with a calm expression. A 1-star great emperor, he really did not take it to heart. Make your move. Lu Ming said calmly. Brat, die. Buduo's eyes revealed a trace of ferocity. He exploded with all his strength and leaped. Then he looked down from high above and smashed his staff at Lu Ming with the force of Mount Tai. The power of this rod was shocking. If it was a true emperor, he would definitely not be able to block it and would be smashed into meat paste. At the side, Jia Yi's eyes flickered, but he did not make a move. Lu Ming had the bloodline of the sacred ancestor blood heart. He would not die so easily. Boom, boom, boom. The metal rod struck down with a dull thud. In an instant it was close to Lu Ming's head. Just when everyone thought that Lu Ming's head was going to explode, Lu Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed. Bang! There was a dull roar. The black metal rod was caught by Lu Ming. Then the metal rod was fixed in the air, not moving at all. Buduo was the same. He held the iron rod in his hands and was also frozen in the air. The seemingly powerful stick attack was blocked by Lu Ming with one hand. So this is your strength, it's just so. Lu Ming said calmly. He exerted force in his palm and shook it suddenly. Buzz. The iron rod trembled violently, and a terrifying force followed the iron rod and blasted toward Buduo. Buduo let out a blood-curdling screech and his body flew out like a cannonball, following in Tian Luo's footsteps. He crashed heavily onto the ground and spat out a large mouthful of blood. The scene fell into dead silence again. One move, another move. Buduo, who had already reached the Great Emperor realm, was defeated. He could not fight back at all in the hands of Lu Ming. How could Lu Ming be so powerful? Was this the strength of the human race? The human race was actually this strong? Many people from the foreign races were shocked. In their minds, the human race and the divine beasts of the heaven realm couldn't even withstand a single blow. Their evil god race was the supreme existence. But now a human youth had defeated several of their experts in a row. This person looks young, but he might have already cultivated for countless years. That's why he's so strong. That's right, it must be like this. Following that, many other alien races spoke up and thought that Lu Ming was an old monster. It was normal for an old monster who had cultivated for countless years to have such strength. You really know how to deceive yourself. Lu Ming sneered, his face filled with disdain. What did you just say? Haven't you been cultivating for many years? Then tell me, how many years have you been cultivating until now? Someone asked loudly. Alright, I'll tell you then. I, Lu Ming, have cultivated for less than 200 years. Lu Ming's voice was heard by everyone. What? Less than 200 years, how is that possible? He defeated the great Emperor Buduo in less than 200 years. Impossible. How could the human race have such a powerful heaven's favorite? He must be lying to deliberately attack us. Many of the alien races roared in disbelief. In less than 200 years, there were only a few in the entire evil god tribe who could defeat Buduo, who had reached the one-star great emperor realm. That's why I said you're lying to yourself. I believe you have a way to determine the age. If you don't believe me, then find someone to do it, Lu Ming said. The alien fell silent. Seeing how confident Lu Ming was, he did not seem to be lying. He had probably cultivated for less than 200 years. The human race actually had such a heaven's favorite. Is there anyone else who wants to come out and fight? Today I'd like to see what kind of tricks your clan has. Lu Ming's voice could be heard from afar. There was silence at the scene. Everyone looked at each other, but for a moment no one made a move. Lu Ming had cultivated for less than 200 years. There were only a few people in the entire evil god realm who could fight with Lu Ming at this age. There was not a single one present. As for those who had cultivated for tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, or even longer, it would be a little embarrassing for them to come out and fight Lu Ming. Aren't there many experts in the evil god tribe? To think that there's actually no one who can fight me. Alright, I'll give you all a chance. Anyone who has cultivated for less than 10,000 years can come and fight me. I'll accept all of you, Lu Ming said loudly. Lu Ming, you said it yourself. Don 11, go back on your word. Tian Luo shouted. Of course. Lu Ming responded. Good. My clan has a longevity roll. On it are 100 top experts who have cultivated for less than 10,000 years. Any one of them can crush you. Just you wait, I'll go find them now. Tian Luo teased. You must teach Lu Ming a lesson today. The longevity roll. 100 experts who have cultivated for less than 10,000 years. Interesting. Go and find them. Find a few more. But wait here. Lu Ming said with a relaxed expression. Not only was he not nervous, but he was also looking forward to it. For the martial emperor realm, if one had cultivated for less than 10,000 years, it could be said to be a golden period. It was the time for one's cultivation to explode. It also represented the future. The concept was similar to that of the prodigies of the younger generation. Lu Ming also wanted to see how strong the strongest group of experts in the evil god tribe who had cultivated for less than 10,000 years were. Lu Ming crossed his arms and waited quietly. More and more foreign races gathered around. How many years had it been since a human had challenged them in their capital? They also wanted to see what kind of strength this human, who had cultivated for less than 200 years, had. A few figures stood in the sky but no one noticed them. These people were the king of the outsiders, General Mo Luojiao, and a few other powerful beings. As expected of the person chosen by the saint ancestor Bloodheart. He's extraordinary, the non-human king said. Previously they did not know that Lu Ming had such powerful abilities. Chapter 24:13, Another. The king of the alien race Wuxia, and the others had no idea that Lu Ming was so powerful. Back then, at the entrance of the passage in the heaven realm, Lu Ming had burst out with shocking strength and killed many alien races. However, at that time Lu Ming had borrowed the power of his third bloodline. The king of the non-human race and the others thought that Lu Ming was so powerful because of the power of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart. They did not know how strong Lu Ming was himself. At this moment, they were a little surprised to see Lu Ming displaying his abilities. This kid has extraordinary talent. I'm afraid it won't be easy to subdue him and make him despair. That's right. This kind of person is definitely an overwhelming prodigy in the heaven realm. This kind of person is usually arrogant, supercilious, and extremely confident. It's difficult to make such a person submit to despair. The other powerhouses also chimed in. This was indeed beyond their expectations. Their original plan was that if Lu Ming was just an ordinary prodigy, he would definitely be taught a lesson when he walked the evil god realm. By then, a few powerful paragons would be able to suppress Lu Ming. In that case, Lu Ming would easily give in and give in. However, Lu Ming was a rare genius. It would not be easy to make such a person despair. If it really doesn't work out, then I'll take him to the holy mountain. The non-human king said. Great, the king is wise. Countless experts of our world have gathered on the holy mountain, including some of the top-ranked figures on the longevity roll. I believe he'll give in to the countless experts. Not bad. Moroga and the others all smiled. At the mention of the holy mountain, their eyes flashed with respect. Time passed quickly. After 2 hours, a few rays of light broke through the sky from the distance. The next moment, a few figures appeared in the sky. One of them was Tian Luo. There were 2 other people. One of them was also a non-human king, but he had a head of short purple hair. He looked very energetic and young. The other person was a shadow-like alien. He didn't seem to have a physical body. He stood there but his body was swaying like water. It's Storm and Mo Ping. I didn't expect Storm and Mo Ping to be in the capital. Mo Ping is ranked 98th on the longevity roll. Storm is ranked 76th. Let's see how arrogant that human brat can be this time. Excited discussions could be heard from the surroundings. It was obvious that they were very confident in the so-called Storm and Mo Ping. From the discussions of the people around him, Lu Ming knew that the royal with inch-long hair was called Mo Ping. That shadow-like alien race was called Storm, and they were both top experts on the evil god world's longevity roll. This is the kid who wants to challenge everyone on the longevity roll. He's really arrogant. Mo Ping coldly spoke, his eyes flashing with sharpness. Then let's cripple him and make him lie on the ground like a dog, hee. Bao Feng laughed in an ear-piercing voice. His shadow-like body swayed. You first, or should I go first? Mo Ping asked Storm. You do it. In my opinion, you are enough. The ear-piercing sound of the storm rang out again. All right, then I'll take on this kid. Mo Ping stepped forward and a violent aura emanated from his body. 3-star Great Emperor. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Mo Ping had cultivated for less than 10,000 years, but he was already a 3-star Great Emperor. And he was only ranked 98th on the longevity roll. Could it be that the 100 people on the longevity roll are all 3-star Great Emperors or above? At this moment, Lu Ming's heart felt heavy. In less than 10,000 years of cultivation, 100 of them had reached the level of 3-star Great Emperor. This was absolutely shocking. There was almost no problem for these people to become heavenly emperors in the future. They could even become peerless powerhouses. The alien races were indeed powerful. No wonder the heaven realm had been defeated in the ancient war and could only guard the Taiqing heavenly region. No, I can't be discouraged. No matter how many powerhouses and prodigies the Outlanders have, they'll suppress them all in the future. Lu Ming's eyes shone with a bright light and a strong fighting spirit. I'm invincible. This was Lu Ming's belief and his confidence in himself. No matter how many heaven's favorites or powerhouses you have, I will suppress them all. Kill. Mo Ping shouted coldly. The third eye between his brows emitted a brilliant light. Then combat swords flew out of his eye. There was a total of 18 combat swords. They formed a strange pattern and slashed violently at Lu Ming. What a unique attack. Lu Ming's heart stirred. His opponent had used the destructive light from his third eye to form a sword and then formed a wonderful sword formation. Whoosh, whoosh. The 18 combat swords formed a magical sword formation. Its power increased exponentially, bursting forth with endless sword chi that enveloped Lu Ming. Buzz. Lu Ming's muscles trembled rapidly as he unleashed the six-feathered divine wings. Lu Ming now controlled too many laws. He had a total of 81 types and 71 types of King Path laws. The 6 types of laws required for the six-feathered wings were all contained within. Not only the 6-feathered divine wings, but the 18 types of nomological laws of the indestructible ancient scroll were also contained in it. This caused the power of Lu Ming's indestructible ancient scroll to increase explosively. Buzz. Whoosh. Lu Ming's speed was extremely fast. He dodged continuously, avoiding the sword chi attacks. None of the sword aura could hit Lu Ming. Your movement technique is quite fast. Let's see how you dodge it. Mo Ping said coldly. The light in his third eye grew brighter and the 18 swords became even faster. At the same time he took a step forward and charged at Lu Ming, throwing a palm strike. Boom. A vortex appeared in his palm and it exuded a shocking power. This force spun wildly, bringing with it a shocking tearing force. It wanted to envelop Lu Ming and tear him into pieces. This power could greatly enhance one's speed and movement technique. When combined with the sword formation formed by the 18 combat swords, it was simply invincible. Lose. Mo Ping coldly shouted, extremely confident. He had been able to rank 98th on the longevity roll and defeat 2 other experts whose cultivation levels were not any lower than his because of this move. I'm too lazy to play with you. At this moment Lu Ming's indifferent voice was heard. Then Lu Ming struck 19 palms in a row. 18 of the palms landed on the 18 combat swords, and the other palms struck Mo Ping's palm. Bang, bang, bang. Lu Ming's strength was so shocking that the 18 combat swords exploded when he slapped them. When Lu Ming's palm collided with Mo Ping's palm, Mo Ping's body trembled as if he had been electrocuted. His eyeballs almost popped out. The sound of bones breaking rang out. Mo Ping let out a blood-curdling scream as his body was sent flying. Just like Mo Tian Luo and Bu Duo, he crashed heavily onto the ground. Chapter 24:14. Deeply shocked. As Mo Ping landed on the ground, everyone's heart jumped. He was defeated. Mo Ping was also defeated. He seemed to be unable to withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. This was a peerless expert on the longevity roll, a 3-star great emperor, yet he was easily defeated. Lu Ming, did this human really only cultivate for less than 200 years? Mo Tian Luo's face turned pale. Even Mo Ping was not Lu Ming's match. How was this possible? More than 100 years ago he had exchanged blows with Lu Ming. At that time Lu Ming was only slightly stronger than him. However, now Lu Ming was so much stronger than him. He felt that he had suffered a huge blow and his state of mind was somewhat unstable. Interesting. At this moment the piercing sound of the storm was heard again. Its 3 eyes flickered as it sized Lu Ming up. Your physical strength is very strong. It seems that you mainly cultivate your physical body. Storm Wind said. His body seemed to be weightless as he floated out. You'll know when you try. Lu Ming pursed his lips. Of course I want to try. Feng Feng suddenly moved. His body trembled and he disappeared. Then he suddenly appeared behind Lu Ming. A long and thin sword appeared in his hand and he stabbed Lu Ming's back. However, it was as if Lu Ming had eyes in the back of his head. He struck out with his palm. However, Storm's figure flashed and disappeared without a trace. The next moment, 8 figures suddenly appeared around Lu Ming. The 8 figures were like a storm. He rushed towards Lu Ming, his attacks constantly erupting. All 8 of them are true bodies. Interesting. Lu Ming was very surprised. What the other party had displayed were not doppelgangers, illusions to confuse people, but 8 real bodies. The 8 true forms had the same cultivation and were extremely powerful. In an instant Lu Ming struck out 8 palms in a row, blasting 8 figures. Boom. Boom. With 8 loud bangs the 8 figures of the storm were pushed back by Lu Ming. He's also a 3-star great emperor. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The other party was also a 3-star great emperor, but he had already reached the limit of 3-star Great Emperor. His attacks were extremely strange and unpredictable, and he was indeed stronger than Mo Ping. Again. The storm's 8 figures retreated and swayed again. This time each of them was split into 2. The 8 figures turned into 16 and attacked Lu Ming. The 16 figures were all true bodies and their strength was exactly the same. Their strength had not weakened because they had split apart. It's useless no matter how much we split. Lu Ming said coldly. He changed his palm into a fist and punched continuously. Boom. Boom. The terrifying fist force crushed the void and destroyed everything in its path. The storm let out a sharp shriek and retreated frantically. However, it was too late. It was crushed by Lu Ming's fist force and the 18 figures exploded one after another. Everyone was shocked. Could Storm have been killed by Lu Ming? A peerless expert on the longevity role had fallen? However, at this moment Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. He realized that his own shadow had suddenly moved. He did not move, but his shadow moved. It was like a sharp sword stabbing toward Lu Ming. This scene happened so quickly that Lu Ming did not even have time to react. The sword pierced Lu Ming's body accurately, but it did not penetrate his body. Lu Ming's defensive power was astonishing. In addition, he had activated the indestructible golden body just now. That terrifying defensive power was not something a 3-star Great Emperor could break. Lu Ming's shadow twisted rapidly, seemingly filled with shock. Get lost. At this moment, Lu Ming shouted loudly like a thunderclap and stepped on his own shadow. Lu Ming activated many types of laws in this kick. Although the other party's body was strange, it was still restrained by Lu Ming's laws. Boom. The power of this kick was extremely shocking. The ground shook and cracks appeared on the extremely hard floor. A scream was heard and Lu Ming's shadow returned to normal. Storm's figure appeared in the distance. There were cracks on its body and it almost exploded. Naturally, Lu Ming had already shown mercy. Otherwise, the other party would have been dead. A 3-star Great Emperor, no matter how many tricks he had, Lu Ming could still kill him easily if he used his full strength. Can't even withstand a single blow. Lu Ming said coldly. Damn it, how is this possible? On the side, many of the foreign races roared. They found it hard to accept. The longevity roles experts had defeated 2 people in a row, and one of them was ranked 76. The human race actually had such a powerful heaven's favorite, and he had cultivated for less than 200 years. Luckily he was caught. This was the evil god world. No matter how strong he was, he wouldn't be able to cause any trouble. Many alien races consoled themselves like this. I didn't expect this person to be so strong. In the sky, the king of the alien race, Wuxia, and the others were also surprised. Lu Ming's strength had completely exceeded their expectations. It's a good thing that he was chosen by the Blood Heart Saint ancestor. Otherwise, he would be a disaster for our clan once he grows up. Wuxia said. Not bad. The others nodded in agreement. Let him go to the holy mountain. The non-human king spoke. Things were out of his expectations. Initially, he wanted the alien race to attack Lu Ming and let him experience the powerhouses of the alien race. He wanted to make Lu Ming despair and yield. However, he didn't expect that it was the foreign tribes that were suffering a blow. Lu Ming displayed his might and defeated many powerhouses from the alien races in a row, dealing a heavy blow to many alien races. This made Lu Ming even more confident. This was not what they wanted to see. And, yes. Muroga nodded and then a voice was transmitted. His voice resounded in Tian Luo Ping and Storm's ears. Let him go to the holy mountain. The eyes of Tian Luo and the others lit up. That's right, let Lu Ming go to the holy mountain. There are countless experts there and there are plenty of people to deal with Lu Ming. Lu Ming, don't be so arrogant. Our tribe has 10 royal famflies and 10 royal cities. This is just one of the 10 royal cities. Besides, most of the powerhouses in our tribe are cultivating in seclusion on the holy mountain. If you have the ability, go to the holy mountain. Tian Luo shouted. That's right. If you have the ability, go to the holy mountain and I'll let you see the strength of my tribe. At that time you'll understand what a strong person is. Ping also called out. That's right, if you have the ability, go to the holy mountain. On the side, the other alien races also started to shout. Holy mountain. Lead the way. Lu Ming said directly. From the looks of it, the holy mountain had a very high status in the hearts of the Outlanders. It was an important place for the Outlanders, as it had gathered a large number of experts. Lu Ming could go and take a look. He wanted to see how many experts the alien races had. If he could escape in the future, he would be more prepared. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Chapter 2415 Sacred Mountains Terrifying Strength. Lu Ming, we're going to the Holy Mountain. Follow me. Tian Luo said, then turned around and flew in a direction. Lu Ming did not say anything and followed him. As for Jia, he kept quiet and followed not far from Lu Ming. As long as Lu Ming's life was not in danger, he would not take action. Let's go, I'll go and take a look too. Just in time, I want to go too. The surrounding alien races were all very curious. They wanted to see what kind of storm Lu Ming would stir up when he arrived at the Holy Mountain. After all, some of the top experts on the longevity roll were in the Holy Mountain. Lu Ming would definitely have to fight with those existences on the Holy Mountain. They did not believe that Lu Ming could keep winning. Immediately, the large group of people followed behind Lu Ming and flew forward. Soon they flew out of the capital and headed west. The Holy City was to the west of the Imperial City and was also the center of the entire evil god world. Tian Luo led the way at a steady pace. Lu Ming was not in a hurry either. In the end, he took out a puppet and sat on it. He let the puppet travel while he focused on comprehending the various laws. He wanted to achieve perfection in all the laws as soon as possible and enter the great emperor realm. Mo Ping and Feng Feng turned into two streams of light and flew to the west, disappearing from everyone's sight. It was likely that they had arrived at the Holy Mountain in advance to make preparations. Just like that, after flying for a month, they arrived at a plain. The demonic sky net slowed down even more when they arrived. Lu Ming noticed that all the members of the alien race had a solemn look on their faces. There was also respect and reverence, or even a kind of piety. After flying for a while, a huge mountain appeared in front of them. It was a huge mountain, and it truly reflected the meaning of the word huge. It was an incomparably towering and massive mountain. There was no vegetation on this mountain, but even from far away, one could feel the magnificence of this mountain. The mountain was so high that it reached into the depths of the sky. As they slowly got closer, they realized that the area it occupied was even larger. Lu Ming had never seen such a huge mountain peak. When he got closer, Lu Ming realized that there were a shocking number of alien races at the foot of the mountain. At a glance, countless non-humans were sitting cross-legged on the Holy Mountain, as if they were cultivating. There was a wide mountain road that led from the foot of the Holy Mountain to the top. On the mountain paths were numerous outsiders who were slowly making their way up. When they reached a certain height, they would land on some rocks, or find a random spot to sit down cross-legged and cultivate. The entire Holy Mountain was filled with people. The number of non-humans was shocking. Lu Ming took a casual glance and discovered millions of alien races. This was only a corner of the Holy Mountain. There were countless alien races on the Holy Mountain. The most shocking thing was that these foreign kinds were all experts. The worst was at the Saint Realm. The Martial Emperor realm was above that. Lu Ming saw at least 100,000 martial emperors and more than 10,000 true emperors among the 1 million alien races. There were so many experts in a corner. How many experts were there in the entire Holy Mountain? Terrifying. It was truly terrifying. Lu Ming's expression changed and he became extremely solemn. Seeing that Lu Ming's expression had changed, Tian Luo looked pleased. He flew over and said, "Lu Ming, let me tell you. The Holy Mountain is the residence of our race's holy ancestor. He lives at the highest point." "Your race's divine ancestor is in this Holy Mountain?" Lu Ming could not help asking. "Of course. The divine ancestor of our tribe lives at the peak of the Holy Mountain, so the entire Holy Mountain is the best holy land for cultivation for our tribe. When we cultivate on the Holy Mountain, we will be influenced by the aura of the divine ancestor. Over time, not only can you improve your cultivation, but you can also purify your bloodline, making yourself closer to the divine ancestor and making your bloodline purer." Tian Luo said proudly. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. So that was the case. No wonder there were so many powerful people gathered on the Holy Mountain. The divine ancestor of the non-human race was an unimaginable existence. He was probably an existence that surpassed the celestial emperor. In that case, what was the relationship between the sacred ancestor blood heart and the non-human sacred ancestor? Lu Ming had more doubts in his heart. "Let me tell you, there are many caves on the Holy Mountain. Many people in my tribe have turned into ascetics and have been cultivating in those caves for countless years. I don't know how many of them there are. Also, the higher you go, the higher your cultivation level will be. Near the top of the mountain, there are a large number of celestial emperors cultivating. The number is beyond your imagination. Now you know the strength of our tribe. Only a small part of our tribe is attacking the Taiqing heavenly region. If we send out a large army, the Taiqing heavenly region will be turned into dust in an instant. Tian Luo said proudly. Lu Ming was indeed very shocked. The number of non-human experts on this Saint Mountain was indeed terrifying. It was beyond his expectations. From a distance, one could sense the terrifying auras on the entire sacred mountain. Although these auras were very obscure, Lu Ming had cultivated 81 types of laws, and it was as if he was about to merge with the heaven and earth. His perception was also astonishingly strong, so he could sense them clearly. Those auras and waves of shocking pressure were all heavenly emperor-level existences. The number of them made Lu Ming apprehensive. The entire holy mountain was like a terrifying weapon of a martial emperor. It gave off a terrifying pressure. It was as if he would be crushed into dust at any moment. Tian Luo was right. The forces that the foreign races had gathered outside the two-world city could not compare to this holy mountain. If all the powerful beings on this mountain moved together, the Taiqing heavenly region would be turned into dust in an instant. That's impossible. It can't be. If that's the case, the alien races would have already broken through the two-world city and the Taiqing heavenly region. They wouldn't have waited until now. Maybe there's a hidden power in the heaven realm that I haven't seen yet. Also, there might be other reasons. If it could be destroyed, the heaven realm would have been destroyed by the alien races long ago. Lu Ming's mind whirred and he instantly thought of many things. He told himself to relax and his mood finally improved. Tian Luo sneered and walked toward the holy mountain. When they were close to the holy mountain, a few beams of light flew out of the holy mountain. Two of them were Storm and Ping. Other than them, there were three other young men. Of course, even though he looked young, he was definitely not young. It's the three people on the longevity roll. They're 65th, 59th, and 43rd. Someone on the side recognized the three people. As expected, most of the top experts on the longevity roll are on the holy mountain. Three of them came all at once. It's enough to take care of Lu Ming and let him know the power of our race. Not bad. Seeing the three young men, many of the demonic humans were excited. They had been following him for a long time just to see Lu Ming being beaten up. He's the human who defeated you? One of the young men stepped forward and looked at Lu Ming coldly. His eyes were extremely sharp. He doesn't look like much. I can easily defeat him. Another young man spoke, his voice filled with confidence. Chapter 24:16 No one else? These three people were ranked 65th, 59th, and 43rd on the longevity roll, respectively. They could be said to be extremely powerful, far above Storm and Ping. He was definitely a 3-star Great Emperor or higher, or even a 4-star Great Emperor. Of course, they had been cultivating for a long time. At least they had been cultivating for a few thousand years, much longer than Lu Ming. The three of them were very confident. They stepped forward and surrounded Lu Ming. The people around them retreated, giving them enough distance to fight. You guys, let's attack together. 11 Lu Ming's eyes swept across the three of them as his indifferent voice rang out. What? Everyone was stunned. Lu Ming wanted to fight 1 against 3. He wanted to challenge 3 people alone? How arrogant. What an arrogant human brat. This is the first time I've seen such an arrogant human. One of the 3 young men licked his lips, his eyes cold. He wants to challenge all 3 of us at the same time. Who does he think he is? What do you mean? Of course I'll agree to it. I'll beat him up until he can't take care of himself. The 3 longevity roll experts sneered, their eyes growing more and more sinister. Since Lu Ming was asking for it, they naturally had to fulfill his wish. The 3 young men moved and surrounded Lu Ming. Almost at the same time they made their moves. 3 different attacks were launched at Lu Ming with shocking power. The moment the 3 of them attacked, Lu Ming could tell their abilities. 2 4-star Great Emperors and 1 peak 3-star Great Emperor. Under normal circumstances, such a lineup would not have any problems dealing with someone who had cultivated for less than 200 years. However, they had encountered Lu Ming and that was a problem. Buzz. Lu Ming's muscles trembled and his body shot out like a cannonball towards one of the people. Buzz. Lu Ming reached out with his large hand and the other party's attack was immediately destroyed. Then his claw did not stop. In an instant he grabbed the other party's throat. Hurry up. It was too fast. Lu Ming's palm was unbelievably fast. Before the other party could react, Lu Ming had already grabbed his neck. Then with a powerful swing the other party was like a meteorite crashing towards the ground. Boom. The ground trembled and the other party screamed in pain. Who knew how many bones in his body were broken, and he was truly unable to take care of himself. However, the ground here was extremely firm, and only a shallow pit was formed when the other party crashed into the ground. At this moment the other two people's attacks were about to land on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he dodged their attacks. Then he attacked one of them. The man was slightly surprised but he did not panic. The one that Lu Ming had easily defeated was the weakest among the three of them. He was only a 3-star Great Emperor while he was a 4-star Great Emperor. A 4-star Great Emperor had already reached the high-level Great Emperor realm, and his battle prowess was far beyond that of a 3-star Great Emperor. Meteor Fist. He bellowed in rage and his fist shot towards Lu Ming like a shooting star at an astonishing speed. Boom. At the same time Lu Ming threw a punch as well. The two fists collided heavily. When the two fists collided the youth's arm was bent and the bones in his arm were broken. The scales on his skin flew everywhere and his body trembled as he retreated. His eyes were filled with deep fear. He felt that Lu Ming's strength was too strong. It was as if he could move mountains and tread the sea. It was difficult to resist. Not good. Then he was shocked and retreated quickly because Lu Ming had arrived again. However, how could his speed be compared to Lu Ming's? As he retreated, Lu Ming had already arrived. Suppression. It was a complete suppression. Although the foreign youth tried his best to resist, he only managed to block 2 moves before he followed in the footsteps of the previous person. Lu Ming grabbed his throat and threw him to the ground, lying on the ground unable to move. It took time to describe but all of this happened in an instant. In the blink of an eye the 2 longevity role experts were crushed by Lu Ming. The remaining person was almost scared to death. He had been able to deal with the 3-star Great Emperor, but now even a 4-star Great Emperor had been crushed. He was panicking. He retreated decisively like a stream of light. You want to leave? Lu Ming laughed coldly. His muscles trembled and the space exploded. Lu Ming charged towards the other party and closed in on him in an instant. The other party tried his best to resist, but the result was already set in stone. After 2 moves he crashed into the ground like a meteorite, unable to move. The eyes of the surrounding non-humans almost popped out of their sockets. Looking at the 3 longevity role experts lying on the ground, they felt as if they were dreaming. Those were 3 experts on the longevity role and their rankings were not low either. However, they could not even withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. In just a few moves the 3 of them were lying on the ground like dead dogs. Terrifying. They finally knew how terrifying Lu Ming's abilities were. Previously he had not used his full strength at all. Perhaps he had not used his full strength yet. How powerful was Lu Ming now? Tian Luo, Ping, Storm and the others all turned pale. Lu Ming's ability was beyond their imagination. The commotion here had also alarmed some of the experts on the Holy Mountain. Quite a few people flew over. There were more and more people here. When the people behind found out about the situation they were all shocked. With this kind of strength, could it be that your so-called longevity role doesn't have any stronger experts? Lu Ming spoke, his voice filled with faint contempt. All the alien races didn't look good. In the vast evil god world there were countless experts. But now, a human youth was mocking them for not having any experts at the edge of the Holy Mountain. This was really embarrassing. This kid is looking for death. Let me slap him to death. An extremely powerful expert from the Holy Mountain said ferociously. However, Jia Yi released a terrifying aura and scared that person away. The kings have given the order that this person cannot die. The rest doesn't matter. Jia Yi's voice rang out, causing many people to stop. They naturally understood what the kings meant. The kings referred to the kings of the 10 royal families. What was Lu Ming's background? He actually made the king's order that he could not die. This made all the alien races even more curious. Is there no one else to fight? What a disappointment. Lu Ming's next words made many of the alien races sulk. They really felt that Lu Ming deserved a beating. Many powerful beings really wanted to go out and beat Lu Ming up. This guy is very strong. In my opinion, unless it's an expert ranked in the top 20 on the longevity roll, No one below the 20th rank is his match. Good. Well, spread the news on the Holy Mountain. The top 20 of the longevity roll will definitely rush over when they hear it. Not bad. Many people discussed and then flew toward the Holy Mountain. Lu Ming, if you have the guts, just wait here. There will be experts coming to fight you. Tian Luo stared at Lu Ming and said, "As you wish." Lu Ming smiled and then closed his eyes to rest in the air. Chapter 2417 Strange Attack 1 News about Lu Ming spread rapidly in the Holy Mountain. A human youth actually received an order from the kings to not die. Interesting. And his battle prowess is astonishing. Let's go and take a look. Such discussions could be heard everywhere on the Holy Mountain. Then one figure after another flew out of the Holy Mountain and approached Lu Ming and the others. There were even heavenly emperor powerhouses who had arrived. Labu, it's Labu. Suddenly someone shouted. Everyone saw a young man coming from the Holy Mountain and standing in the air. This person was a member of the non-human royal family. He had purple hair, but his appearance was ordinary. He was thin and his face was cold. His eyes were pale gold and a cold light flowed between his eyes. After he arrived, he swept his gaze across Lu Ming and revealed a strong desire to fight. Labu is ranked 19th on the longevity roll. He's only been cultivating for 3,700 years and he's definitely a rare genius. That's right, with Labu's help that brat will definitely lose. Look, Kiju is here too. As everyone was discussing, an even stronger cry of surprise suddenly erupted. A young man appeared in the sky. This young man was also a member of the non-human royal family, but he was different from Labu. He was very handsome and had jade-like skin. He was even more beautiful than a woman. Upon seeing this young man, Labu's pale golden eyes flashed with solemnity and fear. Kiju was ranked 9th on the longevity roll, 10 places higher than Labu. He was much stronger. Even Kueju, one of the top 10 on the longevity roll, is here. Let's see how arrogant that human brat can be this time. That's right. This time he'll be the one to be beaten into a dead dog. I'm really looking forward to it. Everyone was looking forward to the next battle. As for Lu Ming, he was indifferent to all these. He had a leisurely look on his face as he closed his eyes to rest. Following that, more and more experts came. There were dozens of longevity roll experts present. 7 or 8 of the top 20 had come and even a few of the top 10 had come. Lu Ming, you're still pretending to be calm. Now that the expert is here, do you dare to fight? Tian Luo shouted. Among the people present, no one looked forward to Lu Ming being abused more than him. He could not wait to see Lu Ming being abused. Are all of you here? I'm afraid it's another bunch of weaklings. Why don't we wait a little longer? Lu Ming opened his eyes and said casually. The experts on the longevity roll almost vomited blood from anger. All of them were filled with fighting spirit, and their eyes were burning with anger. You're boasting shamelessly. Don't think that you're invincible just because you've defeated a few people. They'll come and fight you. With a roar, a burly alien rushed toward Lu Ming. Everyone immediately recognized that this person was an expert ranked 32nd on the longevity roll. His battle prowess was extremely profound. Boom. Lu Ming also rushed out and threw a punch. Lu Ming's punch exploded with a shocking amount of power, directly crushing the other party's attack. The other party spat out a large mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Like I said, I can't even withstand a single blow. Lu Ming said in disdain. He didn't want to dawdle any longer. He immediately displayed his powerful strength so that the weaker ones didn't dare to go up. The eyes of the longevity roll experts narrowed. Lu Ming was indeed capable. I'll fight you. A voice rang out and then a thin figure stepped out. Everyone recognized him as the 19th ranked Labu on the longevity roll. Finally, the top 20 experts of the longevity roll were about to make their move. Everyone was filled with anticipation. Make your move. Lu Ming said calmly. Buzz. Before Lu Ming could finish his sentence, Labu moved at an astonishing speed and charged toward Lu Ming. With every step he took, the void trembled and his speed increased. When he neared Lu Ming, his speed had reached its maximum. Whoosh. His palm was like a knife as he slashed at Lu Ming with shocking power. However, the most shocking thing was yet to come. Just as his palm was about to reach Lu Ming, his palm suddenly changed. His palm was like mercury. It suddenly elongated and wriggled, turning into a saber. It slashed at Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. What is this technique? Lu Ming's eyes flickered and his muscles trembled. He retreated rapidly and dodged the other party's saber. However, as soon as Lu Ming retreated, the other party's palm changed again. It wriggled rapidly and turned into a soft whip. The soft whip had spikes on it as it whipped toward Lu Ming. It can even be like this. Lu Ming was extremely surprised and he struck out with his palm. Thump. When his palm hit the soft whip, it was as if he had hit a mountain, causing a violent vibration. 5-star Great Emperor. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The other party's cultivation was equivalent to a 5-star Great Emperor. However, he was definitely a genius among geniuses, considering that he had cultivated to this level in just a few thousand years. His combat strength was extremely shocking, and he couldn't be compared to ordinary 5-star Great Emperors. Lu Ming was not his opponent's match with his physical strength alone. After the collision, Lu Ming was forced to retreat. Lu Ming is no match for them. Haha, I knew that Laba would definitely win. Come on, let's beat that brat up. A human dares to be arrogant in our realm. The surrounding non-humans were very excited. Tian Luo, Storm and the others also looked excited. After forcing Lu Ming back with one attack, Laba's other hand also struck at Lu Ming. His other hand turned into a weapon as well. It was a combat sword and he slashed it at Lu Ming. Looks like he'll need to use the combination of laws. Lu Ming muttered. Then rays of light appeared on his body. More than 10 rays of light covered Lu Ming's body, like a colorful armor. Lu Ming cast a modified version of the Chaos Divine Palm and struck the Laba with both palms. Bang! 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 The two of them collided continuously, causing loud rumbles. Laba's attack style was very strange. His hands seemed to be really made of mercury and they could change into all kinds of weapons at will. The key was that they were extremely powerful and could change into many things, making it impossible to guard against. However, Lu Ming's explosive world force and the augmentation of more than 10 types of laws caused his combat strength to skyrocket and he was faintly suppressing his opponent. The reason why Lu Ming did not unleash his full power to defeat his opponent was that he felt that the alien races had strange and mysterious means. He wanted to see more of them. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of moves. Lu Ming seemed to have the upper hand. The surrounding non-humans didn't say anything, and their faces were filled with depression. Laba was actually at a disadvantage. Those people who had thought that Laba would definitely win felt that they had lost face. At this moment, Laba also started to feel anxious. Suddenly he changed his attack. He actually charged toward Lu Ming head-on and adopted a desperate fighting style. However, to Lu Ming's surprise, just as he charged forward, his head and his hands transformed rapidly and sharp spikes grew out. His head had become like a giant hammer. Chapter 2418 Agreement of 3 Moves Thump. Lu Ming's palm struck Laba's head. It was as if he had struck a giant hammer. A powerful force surged toward Lu Ming. Then, as if there was no bone spine, Laba's waist bent into a terrifying arc. His legs were like 2 knives, slashing toward Lu Ming. The angle was extremely strange and tricky. An ordinary person might not be able to avoid it if they were not careful. Lu Ming cast the 6-feathered divine wings. Coupled with the vibration of his muscles, his speed was extremely fast. In a flash, he dodged the opponent's attack. His entire body can be turned into a weapon. Interesting. However, it's time for this battle to end. Lu Ming muttered. There were a few more lights on his body. Reincarnation cutting. Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. His palms seemed to be pushing the water and dancing in the air. A huge vortex appeared in the void. This was a divine power that Lu Ming had created. Over the years, Lu Ming had mastered 10 ultimate maxims and 71 king path maxims. With so many maxims intertwining with each other, they could produce countless divine powers. Over the years, Lu Ming had made many attempts and developed some strange divine abilities. However, each of these divine powers had different characteristics and the number of laws they contained was different. Some contained more than 10 types, some 20 types, some 30 types. The more laws it contained, the more powerful it would naturally be. However, he didn't manage to research a divine power that contained 81 laws. It was too difficult and required a long time to study. This reincarnation cutting technique was a sacred art that contained more than a dozen laws. One of them was the reincarnation law, and the other 2 were the 2 strongest laws and 12 king path laws. A huge vortex spun madly, containing a terrifying cutting power and covered the Labu in an instant. Labu used all his strength to resist, and his body turned into all kinds of weapons charging forward. However, at this moment Lu Ming rushed over and attacked continuously. Finally, Laba could not withstand Lu Ming's continuous palm strikes. His body trembled violently and he was sent flying thousands of miles away. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. Laba was defeated. Many people looked at each other. This human brat was way too strong. Most importantly, they had heard that Lu Ming had only cultivated for less than 200 years. How was it possible that he was so powerful in less than 200 years? In the depths of the sky, some people were also watching. If others were to see this, they would definitely be shocked. This was because any one of them could shake the evil god world. This was because these people were the kings that others spoke of. The evil god race was the king of the 10 great king races. However, not all of them came, but there were still 5 of them. Each of these 5 was a peak expert in this world and were extremely terrifying. Lu Ming arrived at the holy mountain. These terrifying experts were very curious and came over to take a look. After all, Lu Ming had the bloodline of the sacred ancestor blood heart. This brat is actually strong to this extent. It's really beyond expectations. This kind of genius has a higher ambition than the sky. It's difficult to make him feel despair. Indeed, such people are all blessed with great fortune. They are all very confident. No matter what kind of predicament they face, they believe that they can get out of it. The kings of the non-human race discussed. They knew very well what kind of person Lu Ming was because they themselves were such people. Otherwise, how could they stand at the peak of the world? There's no other way. He's already come this far, so he can only keep going. There'll always be someone on the longevity roll who can suppress him. An elderly non-human king said. Not bad. The non-human kings all nodded. They seemed to be very confident in one of the longevity roll's members. Below. You're quite capable, but it's a pity that you're still not good enough. Next. Lu Ming cast a glance at Labu and said indifferently. At the scene, a few young men looked at each other. They were all experts ranked between 10th and 20th on the longevity roll, but they weren't confident in winning if they were asked to fight. Although they were stronger than Labu, they were not that much stronger. They were afraid that if Lu Ming had held back just now, they would most likely be defeated. Therefore they were a little hesitant. I'll do it. At this moment, Kuei-ju spoke and appeared in front of Lu Ming. This made the eyes of many people light up. Kiju was an expert ranked 9th on the longevity roll. The top 10 of the longevity roll were all freakishly powerful. With Kiju taking action, they were at ease. Your name is Lu Ming? Kiju looked at Lu Ming. Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. I've never heard of such an expert like you in the human race. Kuei-ju smiled, looking extremely handsome. If he was in the human race, he would be able to charm countless young girls. Lu Ming smiled casually and did not say much. I don't want to fight you fiercely either. That's what ordinary people do. How about we decide the winner in 3 moves? Kiju said. 3 moves. Lu Ming said. That's right. If I can't defeat you within 3 moves, it'll be my loss. However, there's a rule. You can't dodge, you can only meet force with force. How about it? Kuei-ju said with a cunning look in his eyes. All right. Lu Ming smiled, his smile very bright. This kid actually agreed. Haha, this time he's going to lose even more. He actually agreed to exchange 3 moves with Kiju. He's going to lose. The other alien races laughed wildly in their hearts. They looked relieved, thinking that Lu Ming would lose for sure. Lu Ming did not know the power of Kiju. Lu Ming naturally noticed the reactions of the people around him. However, would Lu Ming be afraid? He wanted to defeat him in 3 moves? Lu Ming was confident that no one below the Heavenly Emperor could do it. Make your move. Lu Ming's voice was heard and the entire venue quieted down. Everyone widened their eyes and waited for the moment when Lu Ming was defeated. Boom. Kiju's body gave off a powerful aura. 6-star Great Emperor. Kiju's cultivation was already at 6-star Great Emperor, and he was currently emitting a purple light that was extremely bright. Then purple scales appeared on his skin. Royal non-human races were originally similar to humans. They no longer had scales on their bodies. However, at this moment, purple scales appeared on Kuei-ju's body once again. Countless scales covered the surface of Kiju. It's here. Kiju is about to use this move. Lu Ming is bound to lose. Tian Luo's eyes were filled with excitement. Lu Ming did not know, but they were very clear. The strongest part of Kiju was its explosive power. Kiju had a unique skill that consumed a lot of energy, but it was extremely powerful. Even the experts on the longevity roll didn't dare to take it head-on and could only avoid it. However, for this kind of unique skill, the gathering could only be used for a few moves. Therefore, he made a pact with Lu Ming to use 3 moves. Moreover, he could only fight head-on. He did not expect that Lu Ming would agree to it stupidly. Was he not going to lose? Chapter 24:19. Second on the longevity roll. Whoosh. 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 Qiju finally attacked. He shouted in a low voice. At least 3/10 of the purple scales on his body flew out toward Lu Ming. These scales were like small flying daggers. They were extremely sharp and powerful, cutting the space into chaos. Buzz. Lu Ming's muscles trembled and the strength of his physical body was activated to the extreme. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the inextinguishable golden body. Lu Ming had successfully cultivated all 18 types of laws contained in the indestructible ancient scroll. In fact, Lu Ming even tried to make changes to the indestructible ancient scroll by adding in a few laws. This made the power of the indestructible ancient scroll even stronger, and its recovery and defense abilities became even more shocking. Lu Ming did not retaliate at all, allowing the scales to cut his body. Buzz. 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 Sparks flew in all directions. When the scales cut Lu Ming's body, there was a continuous clanging sound that was extremely ear-piercing. However, none of the scales could break through Lu Ming's defense. The scales flew past, but Lu Ming was completely fine. Everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Many people knew how terrifying the Qiju skill was. Those scales were 100 times, 1,000 times sharper than a real flying knife. Once it erupted, it was indestructible. Even those on the longevity roll who were ranked higher than Kueju didn't dare to take it head-on. They could only think of ways to avoid it. However, Lu Ming did not retaliate at all. He just stood there and allowed Kueju to attack him. However, he could not break through Lu Ming's defense. How was this possible? What was going on? Many people were dumbfounded. Qiju himself was stunned. After a long time, everyone finally reacted. I don't believe it. Just watch me break your defense. All of you, Qiju hollered in rage and pushed with both hands. The purple light on his body was extremely bright and all the scales on his body burst forth. The countless scales were like flying daggers. There were thousands of them. Lu Ming still did not move, allowing the thousands of scales to slash at his body. Buzz. Whoosh. Ear-piercing sounds were heard continuously. After the concentrated sounds passed, Lu Ming was still standing there, perfectly fine. There was not a single wound on his body. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This kind of defensive power was too terrifying. Doesn't have any power at all. Are you playing house? Lu Ming's disdainful voice was heard and Qiju's face turned red. The attack that he was so proud of was said to be child's play by Lu Ming. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. The third move, die. Kueju roared as he waved his hands. Thousands of scales gathered together and connected to each other, forming a huge flying knife. The power of this flying knife was several times stronger than the scattered scales, and the attack power was completely concentrated. Whoosh! The flying daggers flew toward Lu Ming. This time Lu Ming's eyes were filled with solemnity. The power of this flying knife was enough to threaten him. Lu Ming's body glowed continuously. In the end he used more than 40 types of laws. More than 40 types of laws condensed into a long spear in Lu Ming's hands. Whoosh! Lu Ming thrust his spear. The two blades met in the air and exploded with a blinding light. The rings of light were even more dazzling than the sun. Bang! In the end, Lu Ming's body trembled slightly and he took a few steps back. The flying knife that Qiju condensed immediately collapsed and turned into purple scales that flew in all directions. Then they flew back into Kueju's body and disappeared. Qiju's body retreated as his blood churned and his face turned pale. 3 moves. Lu Ming said calmly and Qiju's face turned pale. According to the agreement, if he did not defeat Lu Ming in 3 moves he would lose. I've lost. Qiju sighed and retreated. In fact, even if he did not admit defeat, he was not Lu Ming's match. He had used his strongest technique but he still could not do anything to Lu Ming. The result would be the same if he continued to fight. Qiju lost. Many alien races had unsightly expressions. Lu Ming's combat strength was simply unfathomable. It was as if he had no foundation. Starting from Tian Luo, he had completely swept through all the battles. No matter how strong the people were, they could only fail. What do we do? Many people turned to look at the youths. These people were ranked above Kuei Ju on the longevity roll. However, at this moment these people looked at each other with grave expressions. For a moment no one made a move. Although Kiju's ranking was lower than theirs, Kiju's explosive power wasn't lower than theirs. In fact, it was even stronger. Their combined combat strength was above Kuei Ju's. However, if they were to be like Lu Ming and take 3 moves head-on from Kuei Ju, they would be the ones who would be defeated. Under such circumstances, even Kiju was defeated. Could they defeat Lu Ming if they went up? They had no confidence at all. The other foreign races were also silent. Could it be that no one could suppress Lu Ming? Could it be that the Heavenly Emperor had to make a move? However, a celestial Arch who had cultivated for God knows how many years would be embarrassed if he were to attack a junior like Lu Ming. Even if he won, it would be an unfair victory. I didn't expect that a human who has cultivated for less than 200 years would have such combat power. I'm itching for a fight. At this moment a chuckle was heard. Then a young figure appeared in the air. Lu Ming was slightly stunned at the sight of this person. This was because this alien race was different from the alien races that Lu Ming had seen in the past. This foreign being looked very similar to a human, but he was different from the royal family of the foreign race. He had long red hair and the third eye between his eyebrows was red like a small sun. This was especially so for the pair of wings on his back. They were also fiery red and there were even flames burning on them. This was the first time Lu Ming had seen such a foreign tribe. It's Prince Condor. Someone exclaimed in surprise. A prince? It seems that this Kong duo is also a royal member of a foreign tribe. It seems that there is more than one appearance of a foreign royal member. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Prince Condor actually came. Prince Condor is ranked second on the longevity roll. He's about to make a move. I haven't seen Prince Condor in action for many years, at least hundreds of years. This is a good time. Many people were discussing in surprise. With a gentle smile on his face, Kong Duo nodded to the crowd. Then he flapped his wings and flew toward Lu Ming. To be honest, I've never seen someone as powerful as you in less than 200 years of cultivation. Even if that fellow were to reach your level of combat strength, he would have spent more time than you. Kong Duo smiled. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Who was the guy that Kong Duo was talking about? Kando, go all out, you must defeat him. At this moment, a voice sounded in Kong Duo's ears. Father. Kong Duo was shocked. Chapter 2421 Furnace of Incineration. Kong Duo was shocked. He didn't expect his father to be near the holy mountain and to be paying attention to this matter. His father had even ordered him to defeat Lu Ming. Who was his father? He was the king of one of the 10 great royal families. How could he pay attention to this place in Lu Ming? This kid, what's his background? Kong Duo was extremely confused, but a determined look flashed in his eyes. He had to defeat Lu Ming. Kong Duo nodded silently and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, make your move. All 3 of Condor's eyes glowed with a fiery red light. At the same time his body was also covered in flames. With a flap of its wings, buzz, Kong Duo dashed towards Lu Ming like a fiery red bolt of lightning. In the process, a combat sword appeared in his hand. It was crystal clear like fire jade and he slashed it at Lu Ming. Peak Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed the moment Kong Duo made his move. Kong Duo was a peak emperor and he wasn't an ordinary peak emperor. He was a genius and his battle strength was stronger than ordinary peak emperors. Compared to the human race, he was equivalent to a peak great emperor who had mastered the strongest great Dao or even stronger. There was no need to doubt the strength of such a person. He was almost invincible under the heavenly emperor realm. Open it. Lu Ming muttered. All the energy in his body erupted. On his body, rays of light flashed continuously. It was a series of laws and in total 81 laws had erupted. In an instant, Lu Ming's strength exploded to the maximum. If it was before he came to the alien race, when Lu Ming was still in control of more than a dozen laws, he would not have been a match for a peak emperor with his own strength. Just like when he was on the Void God Island, he had to rely on his heavenly emperor corporeal body to fight peak great emperors. However, things were different now. Although his physical body hadn't improved, he had mastered 81 laws. His combat power had increased greatly, and he was confident that he could fight a peak great emperor. The 81 types of laws finally transformed into a chaotic colored battle suit that covered Lu Ming's body. At the same time, the Great Desolation Spear appeared in Lu Ming's palm. Buzz. Lu Ming's spear swept out and the space exploded. The Great Desolation Spear emitted a terrifying vibration and collided with Kong Duo's combat sword. Boom. It was as if two stars had crashed into each other, creating a terrifying boom and a scorching light. Immediately after, their bodies trembled and they retreated. What a terrifying power. The power of the flames has even surpassed the laws and the great Daos. Can burn everything. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The other party's flame power had a shockingly high temperature. Even though he had a battle suit condensed from 81 kinds of laws, it was almost destroyed. However, he didn't know that Kong Duo was also shocked. In the entire evil god world, there were only a handful of people below the Celestial Emperor who could compete with him. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was clearly not at the peak Great Emperor realm yet, but he was able to block his attack. The thoughts of the two of them turned quickly, but their figures did not stop at all. After retreating, the two of them stepped on the void and rushed towards each other again. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them engaged in an intense battle. The space was smashed by the two of them and no one stayed within hundreds of thousands of miles. This battle was too terrifying. Other than the Celestial Arch, if anyone else was sucked into it, they would only be left with death. The two of them fought in the dark void at times and at other times they fought in the sky. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged hundreds of moves, and it was difficult to determine the winner. How terrifying. All the alien races were shocked. It was amazing that Lu Ming could actually fight with Kong Duo to this extent. Tian Luo in particular was extremely shocked. Among all of them, he felt it the most because he had fought with Lu Ming in the past. However, if Lu Ming were to exert his full strength, he could crush him with one finger. In the depths of the sky, the few non-human kings were also silent and looked on without blinking. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged more than 200 moves. Satisfying. Lu Ming let out a long howl. His eyes were filled with a bright fighting spirit and his muscles were trembling with excitement. It had been more than 100 years since he had fought to his heart's content. Deep down in his bones he loved to fight and kill. He could only improve faster in battle. In the battle against Condor, he was able to use all of his strength to the extreme and display it to his heart's content. Reincarnation cutting, Death's abyss, Chaos crush, Space-time cage, Karmic cycle, Heavenly wheel of fate. As Lu Ming's figure flashed, he cast all kinds of terrifying divine abilities. These divine abilities were created by Lu Ming after combining various laws over the years. They were extremely powerful. Each divine ability had a different effect, but when used together, it had endless uses. The more they fought, the stronger Lu Ming became. He became more and more skilled in the use of various divine powers and slowly gained the upper hand. Kong Duo started to be suppressed and retreated. Is this all you've got? This is truly disappointing. Lu Ming's voice was heard, causing Kong Duo's expression to turn ugly. Since you're looking for death, I'll fulfill your wish, incinerating furnace. Kong Duo roared. His third eye suddenly burst out with a blazing light. Ooh! His third eye turned into a fiery red vortex spinning rapidly. A terrifyingly hot temperature permeated the air. In addition, there was a terrifying suction force that wanted to suck Lu Ming in. Buzz! Lu Ming's muscles trembled rapidly. At the same time, he used the 6 feathered divine wings in an attempt to escape from the suction force. The suction force was shockingly strong. Lu Ming found it difficult to escape. Come in. Kong Duo bellowed. His body was covered in scorching flames as he charged at Lu Ming at an equally fast speed. The closer he got to Lu Ming, the stronger the attraction in his third eye. Through the eye, Lu Ming could even see a fire furnace with burning flames inside. Get in. Kong Duo roared. Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Lu Ming said coldly. He shook the long spear and exploded the void, tearing the suction force apart. Then he retreated quickly and avoided Kong Duo. However, Condor's speed was also astonishingly fast. He chased after Lu Ming at an extreme speed, making it difficult for Lu Ming to escape. Condor's body even started to melt, turning into rays of light and flying into his third eye. In the end, Condor's body completely disappeared and flew into his third eye. Then a fire furnace appeared in the air. Buzz! The fire furnace trembled and expanded rapidly. In the end, it was bigger than hundreds of mountains. It pressed down on Lu Ming and sealed the void. An even more terrifying suction force acted on Lu Ming, causing his body to stiffen. Buzz. The furnace pressed down and devoured Lu Ming directly into the furnace, causing him to disappear. Chapter 24-21. The first Prince Kong duo's body turned into a huge furnace and swallowed Lu Ming. Seeing that Lu Ming was swallowed into the furnace, many of the alien tribe leaders heaved a sigh of relief. That kid is finished. The burning furnace is the most powerful technique of the Kando bloodline. It is inherited from the bloodline. Once swallowed, the only thing you can do is burn to ashes. Look at how arrogant that kid is. He's dead for sure. Those alien races were discussing with great joy. Not far away, Jia Yi's eyes flashed. He wanted to help, but he knew that there were many kings watching from the sky. If the kings did not ask him to help, he would naturally not help. In the depths of the sky, the various kings were indeed watching. What should we do? Should we save him? He has the bloodline of the sacred ancestor blood heart. He can't die. A non-human king said. I think we'll see. With the bloodline of the sacred ancestor blood heart in him, I don't think he'll die so easily. Not bad, let's take a look. The other non-human kings nodded. They thought that it would be better to let Lu Ming beg for mercy. As soon as Lu Ming was swallowed into the incinerating furnace, he felt endless flames engulfing him and burning fiercely. The terrifying high temperature was about to burn him into ashes. Lu Ming covered his entire body with the 81 types of laws. At the same time, he circulated the indestructible ancient scroll to resist the burning power from the outside. However, the flames were indeed terrifying. Their power was too shocking. Even if there were many nomological laws intertwined together, they would still be burned. One law after another was burned through. It was not that Lu Ming's law was not powerful. It was just that compared to their current combat strength, the law was slightly inferior. One had to know that the Great Emperor realm corresponded to the Great Tao. Thus, even a profound law like the Law of Fate would find it difficult to display its profound effects at this time. It would also be burned through. Through the laws, a terrifying heat flow coursed through Lu Ming's entire body. His muscles were on the verge of being burned. Waves of piercing pain spread throughout Lu Ming's body. The clothes and hair on his body instantly turned to dust. Lu Ming circulated the indestructible ancient scroll to resist the attack with all his might. Now, the indestructible ancient scroll's recovery ability was even more shocking. After his muscles were burned, they immediately recovered and were as white as jade. Lu Ming relied on the indestructible ancient scroll to persevere. This furnace is indeed powerful, but it can't do anything to me. I can use the flames here to temper my body. Lu Ming revealed a smile on his face. In the past 100 years, there were not many good natural treasures. Lu Ming had been cultivating his physical body, and his 7 gods mysterious technique had been progressing step by step. He had also reached the limit of the middle 5th stage, but he had been stuck at a bottleneck. This time he might be able to find an opportunity to break through. Lu Ming reduced the power of the indestructible ancient scroll slightly and used some flames to help temper his body. Some flames spread all over Lu Ming's body. The terrifyingly high temperature seeped into Lu Ming's bones, internal organs, and even every cell, wanting to burn Lu Ming into ashes. Lu Ming circulated the 7 gods mysterious technique and began to temper his body. Just like that, 3 hours passed in the blink of an eye. Outside, countless beings of the foreign races were waiting patiently for the furnace in the sky. That kid, has he been refined? It's been 3 hours. If an ordinary master of the same level as Kong Duo was sucked into the furnace, he would be refined in less than half an hour. But Kong Duo didn't stop. That kid shouldn't have been refined yet. It's been so long, will Kong Duo be unable to hold on? Many alien races started to discuss among themselves. They were confused. In the blink of an eye, another 2 hours had passed. It had been 5 hours since Lu Ming was sucked into the furnace. Why is the power of the flames weakening? And it is getting weaker. In the furnace, Lu Ming was puzzled. It seems that maintaining the high temperature of the furnace also requires energy. That Kondo, he can't hold on any longer. Lu Ming made a guess. However, Lu Ming was satisfied. After 5 hours of tempering, Lu Ming's body had made great progress. He felt that his physical body could break through at any time. Once he broke through to the late stage of the 5th level of the 7 gods' mysterious art, he would be able to suppress peak emperors with his body alone. In addition to the power of the world and the 81 laws, Lu Ming's combat strength would skyrocket. Another half an hour passed and the power of the flames in the furnace became weaker. It was not of much use to Lu Ming's tempering. Time to go out. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He held the great desolation spear and rushed to one side. Boom. Lu Ming thrust his spear and it hit the wall of the furnace. The furnace shook violently. Boom. 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 Lu Ming burst out with all his might and attacked continuously. The furnace shook even more violently as if it was going to explode. Outside, all the foreign kinds were shocked. Not good. That brat isn't dead. He's attacking the furnace. How terrifying. He's still alive after so long. What kind of freak is that kid? The furnace can't hold on any longer. Many alien races were shocked. Boom. 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 The furnace shook violently. From the outside, one could see that one side of the wall of the furnace was bulging. Finally, cracks covered the wall. Boom. In the end, the entire furnace exploded and waves of heat swept in all directions. A shrill cry reverberated in all directions, and everyone saw Kong Duo's body flying far away. His face was pale and his breath was extremely weak. The third eye of Condor was already closed, but blood was still flowing out. The furnace was broken and Condor was severely injured. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and stood in the void. His aura was extremely vigorous and he was completely fine. You've lost. Lu Ming said. Ow. Kong Duo sighed and didn't say anything. He flew to the side and sat down cross-legged, his body covered in a layer of flames as he began to heal. The non-humans present looked at each other. Kando was actually defeated. If even Kong Duo was no match for Lu Ming, then who else on the longevity roll or below the Heavenly Emperor realm could be a match for Lu Ming? Could it be that the mighty evil god tribe of the vast evil god world was going to be bullied by a human brat? No. It seems like only the first prince can suppress him under the Heavenly Emperor realm. At this moment someone spoke. Hearing this, all the alien races present were shocked. Then their eyes lit up. That's right. We can only ask the first prince to make a move. The first prince has the purest bloodline of the divine ancestor. His talent is the best in our clan since ancient times. He can definitely suppress him. That's right. The first prince has only been cultivating for a few hundred years. Voices rang out one after another. The foreign races seemed to have great confidence in the first prince. The first prince? What a strange name. Lu Ming's heart stirred. However, for him to be respected by so many foreign races after cultivating for a few hundred years, his talent was indeed shocking. Lu Ming, the first prince of our tribe, is on the holy mountain, but he's in seclusion. I'm afraid he'll need some time. Do you dare to wait here? Someone shouted. Why wouldn't I? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Chapter 24-22. Physical body breakthrough. Alright, just you wait. I'll tell you, the first prince of my tribe is the first on the longevity roll. Someone said. Then someone flew toward the sacred mountain, apparently to invite the first prince. As for Lu Ming, he flew to the side and sat cross-legged on a huge rock. I'm afraid that the first prince's combat strength is astonishing. He's definitely above Kong Duo. With my current strength, I'm afraid it's difficult to defeat him. However, my physical body is about to break through. I might as well take this opportunity to break through. Lu Ming made up his mind and took out a pile of Emperor's medicine. He began to practice the Seven Gods' mysterious technique to absorb the medicinal power of the Emperor's medicine and attempt to break through to the 5th level of the Seven Gods' mysterious technique. Lu Ming's physical body had been tempered by the smelting furnace previously and had almost broken through the bottleneck. He could break through at any time. At this moment, Lu Ming was cultivating. His physical body seemed to be very hungry and thirsty, frantically absorbing the external energy. Lu Ming's physical body seemed to have turned into a black hole, devouring the energy from the outside world. No, it's better to cultivate in the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming thought to himself. Lu Ming felt very uncomfortable being stared at by so many people. With a thought, the mountain and river diagram emerged. Lu Ming turned into a ray of light and entered the mountain and river diagram. A treasure from the heavenly realm. Many of the alien races murmured. They didn't seem to mind. The mountain and river diagram was there. Lu Ming could not escape at all. Especially those at the Great Emperor realm, they could completely break through the attack of the Grotto Heaven treasure and attack the people inside. Many alien races were waiting there. The first prince was in seclusion. Even if someone invited him, it was unknown how long it would take for him to come out. After Lu Ming entered the mountain and river diagram, he could no longer hold back. He took out a large number of Emperor's medicine, sacred medicine, and supreme-grade rough stones. As long as Lu Ming circulated the seven gods' mysterious technique, his body would turn into a black hole and devour energy crazily. The energy of the Emperor's medicine, the sacred medicine, and the supreme-grade rough stone were all absorbed by Lu Ming's body. As soon as the energy entered Lu Ming's body, it seeped into every cell in his body to help him improve his physical strength. As the days passed, Lu Ming's physical body became stronger and stronger. Boom. Half a month later, Lu Ming's physical strength had reached its peak. Then with a loud bang, the aura that he emitted increased dramatically. At the same time, his bones and muscles were shaking crazily as he was transforming. His skin glowed with a layer of treasure light like the light of a divine weapon. After a while, his muscles and bones stopped shaking and calmed down. At this time, Lu Ming had completely broken through and cultivated the seven gods' mysterious technique to the late stage of the 5th level. Lu Ming's strength increased explosively. He felt that he had an inexhaustible amount of strength in his body. At the same time, the strength of his muscles, defense, and vitality had also increased to an unbelievable level. Lu Ming had a feeling that he could be unrivaled among great emperors with his physical strength. Good. Let the first prince of the outsiders come. Lu Ming laughed heartily. He extended his spiritual senses through the mountain and river diagram to observe the situation outside. He realized that the first prince had not arrived. Lu Ming did not mind. He continued to circulate the seven gods' mysterious technique, to consolidate his realm, slowly moving towards the limit of the 5th stage late phase. Now that he had reached the late stage of the 5th level of the seven gods' mysterious skill, his next step would be to break through to the 6th level. Once he reached the 6th level of the seven gods' mysterious technique, his physical strength alone would be comparable to a celestial emperor. That would be truly terrifying. However, without a great opportunity, it would be extremely difficult to break through. The Archean body cultivator lineage had been passed down for a long time. However, there were only a handful of people who had reached the heavenly emperor realm. It was clear how difficult it was to cultivate the seven divine mysterious technique to the 6th level. Lu Ming cultivated quietly. In the blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. At this moment there was finally some movement outside. A figure silently appeared in the sky, overlooking the mountains and rivers. All the alien races fell silent. It was a young alien similar to a human. He was obviously a member of the royal family. However, they were different from the other royal families. He was extremely handsome and his hair was golden. Under the sunlight, it glowed. His 3 eyes were also golden in color. When he opened them, they were filled with supreme majesty. The first prince, the number 1 royal tribe of the evil god tribe, was known as the strongest prodigy of the evil god tribe since ancient times. He had cultivated for less than 300 years and had already reached the peak of the emperor level. He was said to have the bloodline closest to the divine ancestor of the non-human race, and his battle power was even more astonishing. Experts of the same level couldn't even withstand a single blow from him. I'm here to join the first prince. Countless alien races saluted Prince De, even some of the heavenly emperors. Their eyes were full of respect. The first prince was destined to be invincible in the future. Where is he? The first prince spoke. It's in that estate world treasure. Someone pointed at the mountain and river diagram. The first prince's golden eyes looked at the mountain and river diagram. Boom. The first prince stomped his foot down. A huge foot formed and pressed down on the mountain and river diagram. He actually attacked directly and it was abnormally overbearing. Buzz. The mountain and river diagram turned into a stream of light and flew out, avoiding the attack. Then there was a flash of light and Lu Ming's figure appeared. He kept the mountain and river diagram. Make your move, I don't have that much time to waste. The first prince placed his hands behind his back and cast an indifferent glance at Lu Ming. He was cold, overbearing, and filled with endless confidence. This was the first prince. He was high and mighty like a god, looking down on the common people as if nothing could enter his eyes. Since you don't have time, then please go back. I don't have that much time to waste with you. Lu Ming also spoke coldly. The other party's attitude made him unhappy. Ignorant. The first prince said indifferently. Lu Ming's words did not make him angry, because Lu Ming was not qualified to make him angry. In his opinion, Lu Ming was just an ignorant ant. Boom. At this moment, a powerful aura emanated from the first prince. It was indeed the aura of a peak emperor, but it gave off a terrifying pressure, as if one was facing a heavenly emperor. Buzz. The first prince took a step forward. His body turned into a golden stream of light as he rushed toward Lu Ming and threw a punch. He still had one hand behind his back as if to say that he only needed one hand to deal with Lu Ming. Buzz. Lu Ming's muscles trembled and he threw a punch as well. Lu Ming did not use world force or laws for this punch. It was purely physical strength. Boom. The two fists collided with a heavy boom. Then a figure retreated 100 miles. It was Lu Ming. Lu Ming, the first prince, was the one who retreated. He did not move. What a terrifying power. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. In the exchange of punches just now, Lu Ming was actually completely at a disadvantage. Chapter 2423 Fighting the First Prince. One had to know that he could completely suppress a peak great emperor with his physical strength, but he was no match for that punch. He could feel that the first prince's body was terrifyingly strong, far stronger than other peak emperors. Of course, the most shocking thing was the energy he cultivated. It was like the energy of the ancient cultivation system, indestructible. There are very few people below the celestial arch level who can take my punch without being injured. Your strength is not bad, no wonder you could defeat Kong Duo. The first prince spoke, but his voice was still indifferent, high and mighty, and filled with endless confidence. However, some of the heavenly emperor powerhouses around them were shocked. They were not shocked by the first prince's combat strength, but by Lu Ming. This was because Lu Ming did not cast any laws just now. Instead, he used his physical body. He had blocked the first prince's attack with his physical body alone. It was too shocking. They had seen Lu Ming's moves before. His physical strength was not that strong before this. Could it be that he had hidden his strength before, or that he had a breakthrough this month? Many of the alien races had the same thought. First prince, be careful. A non-human heavenly emperor warned. You're underestimating me. The first prince looked at this person, his golden eyes emitting a cold light. The heavenly emperor's expression changed and he quickly said, "No, I wouldn't dare to underestimate the prince. It's fine as long as you don't. I can easily suppress a human brat." The first prince said indifferently. He looked at Lu Ming and took a step forward, charging at him again. He still had one hand behind his back and was only using one hand. The power of this punch was stronger than before. Come on. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. There were more than a dozen different kinds of radiances emanating from his body. Boom. With the law's blessing, Lu Ming's combat strength was even stronger. He threw another punch. There was another violent explosion. This time Lu Ming did not retreat. He successfully blocked the first prince's attack. The first prince was taken aback. He was clearly surprised that Lu Ming did not retreat after being punched. Whoosh. However, the first prince was only stunned for a moment. He did not stop. He turned his fist into a palm and slashed at Lu Ming with his palm like a knife. Lu Ming's reaction was very fast. He waved his palm to block. Bang. Bang. The two of them were as fast as lightning. In an instant they had exchanged dozens of moves and then retreated. This is your strength. It's not much. Lu Ming chuckled. The first prince's golden eyes turned cold. Lu Ming's ability had indeed exceeded his expectations. In the past, unless one's cultivation base was higher than his, he would usually single-handedly take care of a battle between two people of the same level. Even Kong Duo, who was ranked second on the longevity roll, couldn't force him to use a second hand. However, he could not deal with Lu Ming now. You do have some strength, but in front of me you're still far from it. The first prince said coldly. He finally extended his other hand. Buzz. The first prince dashed toward Lu Ming like a beam of light, unleashing a terrifying attack. Good. Lu Ming let out a long howl and various laws emanated from his body. Bang. 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 The two of them once again charged at each other, engaging in an intense battle. The battle this time was more intense and terrifying than the battle between Lu Ming and Kong Duo. How is this Lu Ming so powerful? How is this possible? Could it be that he didn't use his full strength in the previous battle with Condor? Many alien races were shocked. Lu Ming's abilities seemed to be limitless. If they were stronger, Lu Ming's abilities would be stronger too. There was no end to it. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Prince Di had exchanged hundreds of moves. Exterminate, kill. The first prince let out a long howl. His third eye burst out with golden light, which was like a divine sword that slashed toward Lu Ming. When the two worked together, the offensive was even stronger. However, the number of laws on Lu Ming's body increased. At this moment, Lu Ming had already released 49 laws. Boom. The two of them exchanged another blow and both retreated. If that's all you've got, then lose. Lu Ming said coldly. The number of laws on his body increased and his aura grew stronger. In the end, 81 types of laws covered his body and Lu Ming's aura rose to its peak. This made all the foreign kind's faces turn extremely ugly. Could it be that the first prince was going to be defeated? Oh, it can't be. Many alien races shook their heads crazily. You're the first person in hundreds of years to force me to this extent. I'll let you have a taste of my ultimate strength. Supreme. Descend. The first prince let out a long howl. His third eye burst out with an extremely dazzling radiance. The golden radiance was even more dazzling than the sun. Then a figure appeared in the third eye of the first prince. The figure stepped out of the third eye. It was a burly figure, but he was shrouded in a golden light. His appearance could not be seen clearly, but the aura he gave off was extremely terrifying. Divine Ancestor. The aura of the Holy Ancestor. The Sacred Ancestor has descended. No, it's the power of the Sacred Ancestor. The first prince's bloodline is the closest to the Holy Ancestors. He can already borrow a trace of the Holy Ancestors' power. Many of the alien races started to shout. Kill. The first prince bellowed. The figure stepped out and charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned serious. He could sense danger and pressure from this figure. But he was not afraid. This was only the first prince's power. It couldn't be the non-human divine ancestor himself. Boom. Lu Ming used all his strength and charged forward, engaging in an intense battle with the figure. Boom. 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 The two of them fought intensely. In the blink of an eye, dozens of moves had passed and they were evenly matched. Fuse with my body. The first prince once again yelled out, and the figure retreated, turning into a ray of light that fused into the first prince's body, causing the first prince's aura to greatly increase. Kill. The first prince charged toward Lu Ming. The two of them engaged in a fierce battle again. The void crumbled and the space within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles was in chaos, sweeping up endless spatial storms. The power of the battle between the two was too strong. Could destroy the world. Terrifying, this is too terrifying. Is this still the great emperor? A great emperor can actually have such battle prowess? Heavens, this is a battle between the heavenly emperors. The two of them fought to the extreme, and the power they unleashed far exceeded that of ordinary peak great emperors. Other peak emperors would probably be killed in one move. The power that the two of them displayed had far exceeded the level of great emperors. It was a battle of the peak, a true battle of the peak. Bang, bang, bang. Towards the end of the battle, the two of them fought madly, clashing madly and getting hit continuously. The two of them were hit, but they didn't care and continued to fight. Lu Ming had the indestructible ancient scroll. Although he was hit, he could recover quickly. The first prince was also very terrifying. In such a state, his recovery ability was also astonishing. Chapter 2424 Eternal Cage. This battle lasted for more than 1,000 moves. At this stage, what was being competed was not battle prowess but endurance. In the end, Lu Ming had the indestructible ancient scroll and an unparalleled physical body. He slowly gained the upper hand and began to suppress the first prince. At this moment, the two of them were covered in blood because they had been hit too many times. Lu Ming landed another punch on the first prince's shoulder. Half of his body almost exploded. At the same time, Lu Ming was also hit. He was also severely injured, but his recovery speed was faster than his opponent. Kill. Lu Ming did not give the other party a chance to recover. He charged forward with his injuries. The more they fought, the more serious the first prince's injuries became. He was less and less of a match for Lu Ming. In the end, he was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. The first prince's chest was hit and his bones were broken. His body was sent flying far away and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. His aura was extremely weak. Lu Ming was about to suppress the other party in one go. However, at this moment, a shadow flashed and a figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. The figure wore a crown on his head and exuded an earth-shattering aura. Under this aura, Lu Ming could not move at all. He could not even move a finger. The king of the outsiders. This was a non-human king and he was terrifyingly powerful. The difference between Lu Ming and him was too great. Enough. The non-human king said coldly with a dark expression. We pay our respects to the king. Many people saluted. The evil god tribe had 10 royal tribes, and the king of each royal tribe had a supreme status and was respected by most of the other races. Today's battle ends here. Everyone step down. The non-human king instructed. Yes. Many alien races bowed and flew toward the holy mountain. However, they were all shocked, especially Tian Luo, Storm and the others. They were all dazed. They understood that even if the king of the non-human race appeared, it would not change the fact that the first prince had been defeated. This so-called most powerful prodigy in the history of the evil god tribe had also been defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming had single-handedly defeated the entire longevity role. This was something they had never expected. The first prince stood in the distance, his golden eyes flashing with an extremely cold light. Kill, die. The first prince shouted coldly. He turned into a stream of light and charged toward Lu Ming. He had always been invincible. Now that he had been defeated, he had a strong desire to kill Lu Ming. However, he was blocked by a force on the way. It was the power of the king of the non-human race. You can't kill him. The non-human king spoke. This person is a human. I must kill him or else it'll be in endless trouble. The first prince shouted. Whether to kill or not, we know what to do. Back down. The alien king berated. The first prince's expression changed. Although he was known as the strongest heaven's favorite in the history of the evil god world and had a very high status, he still did not dare to act presumptuously in front of the king of the alien race. The 10 kings of the evil god tribe were the 10 people with the highest status in the evil god world, excluding the sacred ancestor. You may withdraw. Another voice rang in the first prince's ears. Hearing this voice, the first prince's expression changed again. This was because this voice belonged to his father. The first prince cast a cold glance at Lu Ming with his golden eyes. He turned into a beam of light and flew toward the holy mountain. Only Lu Ming, Jie and a few others were left at the scene. Lu Ming did not beat around the bush. He was in the evil god realm and had no choice. He was prepared to deal with the other party however they wanted to. However, don't even think about making him yield. In the depths of the firmament, a few non-human kings were discussing matters. What should we do now? A non-human king asked. All of this was completely out of their expectations and out of their control. Their plan was to let Lu Ming see the power of the evil god realm, to make him despair and to make him yield. However, they had never expected that Lu Ming's talent and combat strength would be so high. He actually broke through the longevity role. In that case, they would be the ones to suffer a blow. It would be the evil god tribe and not Lu Ming. No one below the heavenly emperor could defeat Lu Ming. How could they make Lu Ming yield? Their plan had failed. I didn't expect this kid to be so talented. No wonder the sacred ancestor blood heart chose him. Once the sacred ancestor blood heart revives in him, he'll definitely be able to recover to his peak. Not bad. Unfortunately, the prison guarding steel is in the way. The faces of the kings of the other races were ugly. For a moment they could not think of a solution at all. They could not take away the prison-suppressing steel and Lu Ming refused to yield. They had no other choice. Could it be that we're going to invite the divine ancestor? A non-human king spoke, but the other non-human kings were silent. No, the holy ancestor has been in secluded meditation ever since the battle to recover from his injuries. Unless it's an urgent matter, we can't disturb him. That's right. I suggest that we wait for a while and spend more time studying it. I don't believe that we can't find a way to get rid of the prison-suppressing steel. The other non-human kings chimed in. Hundreds of years, thousands of years or even tens of thousands of years in their eyes, was just the snap of a finger. At most, they would spend another tens of thousands of years or even hundreds of thousands of years to research it. They did not believe that they could not find a way. I suggest that we lock Lu Ming up in the eternal cage. This kid has not even been born for 200 years. If we lock him up in the eternal cage, he might yield after a few thousand or 10,000 years. Not bad. The kings all nodded and reached a consensus. They'll bring him there. A non-human king finished speaking and disappeared in a flash. Lu Ming suddenly felt an extremely powerful force enveloping him. His vision turned black and he could not see anything. "Let's see what you guys are up to." Lu Ming's expression was calm. He sat cross-legged and waited quietly. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming was swept away by a wave of energy and left the darkness. Light appeared in front of him. "Where is this place?" Lu Ming sized it up. He found himself in a stone room and the door was closed. "It seems like I've been locked back in the secret chamber again." Lu Ming smiled faintly. Since he was already here, he might as well take things as they were. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and began to regulate his breathing. In the previous battle he had suffered some injuries. Although he had the indestructible ancient scroll, he had not fully recovered. After a period of healing, Lu Ming had returned to his peak state. In the following days, Lu Ming spent his time comprehending the laws and tempering his body. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. On this day the door of the stone room opened and a foreign man in red armor walked in. Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat when he saw the alien. This alien was a powerhouse at the Heavenly Emperor realm. "Follow me," the red-armored being said coldly before turning around and leaving. Lu Ming pondered for a while and followed. Chapter 2425 Prison Suppression Realm. Lu Ming walked out of the stone room and followed the blood-red armored alien. "There are so many stone rooms?" Lu Ming was stunned. Outside the stone room there was a stone passage. On both sides of the passage there were stone doors. It was obvious that these were all stone rooms. This place was completely different from the place where Lu Ming had been imprisoned for 100 years. This place was definitely not the capital. At this time the doors of the stone rooms opened and figures walked out from inside. "Human." Lu Ming was shocked. The ones who walked out of those stone rooms were actually humans. A person walked out of each stone room. Could these humans have been captured from the heaven realm? Not long after, Lu Ming saw a few more divine beasts, but all of them had taken on human form. In addition, Lu Ming also discovered a unique point. Some people like him were not wearing anything. It was the same as when they were outside. However, some of them were wearing silver chain armors that even covered their arms and legs. What is this place? A place to imprison prisoners from the heaven realm? Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. The others also looked at Lu Ming with curious expressions. However, no one said anything because there were many alien races in blood-red armor. All of them were at the Heavenly Emperor realm. Lu Ming saw that there were no less than 10 of them. He followed the passage and soon reached the end. At the end of the passage was a huge cave. There was a hole above the cave from which a beam of light shot down. Lu Ming guessed that this might be the interior of a mountain. There were passages all around the cave and people were gathering from each passage. Most of them were humans and divine beasts. Lu Ming even saw alien races wearing silver chain armors, looking like prisoners. Around the cave stood many beings in fiery red armor. Of course, not all of them were heavenly emperors. Most of them were great emperors. However, there were many of them, more than 200 of them. The power of the foreign races gathered in this place was shockingly strong. Is this a cage for the alien race? Lu Ming speculated in his heart. "Little brother, you're new here. I've never seen you before." At this moment, a burly man with messy hair walked over and greeted Lu Ming. "That's right, I've only been here for a few months," Lu Ming said as he sized up the other party. The other party looked to be in his 50s. His hair and beard were in a mess, but one could barely tell that he was very handsome. His eyes flashed with a sense of majesty. He was also wearing a chain armor. "You should be from the heaven realm, and it should be less than 1,000 years since you came from the heaven realm. You still have the smell of the heaven realm on you, a familiar yet strange smell." The burly man sighed and revealed a nostalgic expression. "Big brother also came from the heaven realm?" Lu Ming asked. "That's right. However, that was many, many years ago. I don't even know how many years ago it was. I heard that it should be the ancient era." The burly man sighed. "Ancient times." Lu Ming was shocked. Could it be that he was captured by the alien race during the ancient war and imprisoned here? It was hard to imagine how many years it had been since the ancient era. "Are the humans and divine beasts here all seniors of the heaven realm?" Lu Ming asked again. "No, only a small portion of them came from the heaven realm." The burly man shook his head. "A small portion?" Lu Ming was shocked. "Aha, you can't be thinking that only the heaven realm and the primordial realm have humans, right?" In fact, the evil god realm also has humans. The burly man laughed. There are humans in the evil god tribe? This time Lu Ming was even more shocked. He had never heard that there were humans in the evil god world. Weren't the evil god world all alien races? The 10 royal alien races occupied the entire evil god world. Haha, I'm a human from this side. Xianxia, is this little brother from the heaven realm? At this moment, a burly man with fiery red hair walked over. He looked to be in his 50s and was also wearing a chain-like armor. The big man with messy hair was called Xianxia. Not bad. Xianxia nodded and introduced. His name is Wu Tai. He's a human from the evil god world. Little brother, what's your name? My name is Lu Ming. Lu Ming introduced himself and then started chatting with Xianxia and Madame Wu. The two of them were very forthright. Lu Ming learned a lot about this place during the conversation. This place was called the Eternal Cage. It was a place where the alien races locked up felons. It meant that once someone was locked in, it would be difficult to get out for 10,000 years. These people had been detained and given drugs on the spot. That's right, medicine. Every once in a while, the alien races would send people to extract their blood and use it to make pills for the alien races to consume and improve their cultivation. Moreover, Lu Ming learned that there were humans in the evil god realm. There were still some who stayed in a place called the prison realm to resist the alien races. And the power of the prison suppression field was very strong. The prison suppression field. The name is so similar to the prison suppressing steel. Lu Ming's heart stirred and he thought of many things. Maybe the alien races were distracted by the prison suppression field, so they couldn't attack the heaven realm with all their might. Why is there another outsider locked up here? Lu Ming asked again. Because some alien tribes are also against attacking the heaven realm. You see, those dozen alien tribes over there are all very powerful existences. However, they opposed the attack on the heaven realm in ancient times, so they were also imprisoned here. Xianxia said, pointing to the left. Lu Ming looked over and saw more than 10 alien races. They were all royal members of the alien race and they were wearing silver chain armors. I see. Lu Ming came to a sudden realization. It seemed that not all the alien races were in favor of attacking the heaven realm. Some were against it. In fact, Lu Ming had been wondering why the alien races had to attack and destroy the heaven. Wouldn't it be better for everyone to live in peace? Big brother Xianxia, you've been imprisoned here since ancient times. Has no one ever escaped from here after so many years? Lu Ming asked again. No, I didn't. Xianxia shook his head and sighed. The entire eternal cage is enveloped by a treasure and has a terrifying restriction. It's said that the treasure belongs to the evil god tribe's saint ancestor. Once it's set up, the restriction can't be broken. Moreover, the restriction has a terrifying killing power. As long as one is within the restriction, once there is any abnormal movement, the restriction will be activated and even a peak heavenly emperor will be killed. Lu Ming was shocked. A peak heavenly emperor was about to be killed. That was too terrifying. A peak heavenly emperor was the most powerful person in the world. Lu Ming could not imagine how powerful he was. Lu Ming, brother Xianxia, is a peak heavenly emperor. Mrs. Wu said. What? Peak heavenly emperor? Lu Ming's heart trembled and he was dumbfounded. He had never expected Xianxia to be a peak heavenly emperor. Chapter 24-26. The Nine-Headed Golden Lion, one of the top 10 battle beasts. Xianxia was a peak heavenly emperor. A peak heavenly emperor, no matter in the evil god realm or the heaven realm, was a peak existence. His battle power was beyond imagination. There were not many people like him in the evil god realm or the heaven realm. According to Lu Ming's knowledge, the top 10 war beasts were at the peak of the heavenly emperor realm at their peak. However, the ordinary-looking man in front of him was actually a peak heavenly emperor. Xianxia used to be a well-known figure in the heaven realm. Haven't you heard of him, brother Lu Ming? Mrs. Wu looked at Lu Ming curiously. No, I didn't. Lu Ming shook his head. Ah, Mrs. Wu, when was I in heaven realm? So many years have passed, who still remembers my name? Xianxia laughed and didn't take it seriously. The Nine-Headed Golden Lion's name has shaken the world. Back then even the evil god world had heard of it. Mrs. Wu said with a grin. What? The Nine-Headed Golden Lion? Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. Of course he knew about the Nine-Headed Golden Lion. One of the top 10 battle beasts, the Nine-Headed Golden Lion, who didn't know about it. However, it was said that the Nine-Headed Golden Lion had already died in the ancient war. Xianxia was actually one of the top 10 war beasts, the 9-headed golden lion. So he didn't die. You've heard of it? Mrs. Wu said. Of course, who hasn't heard of the 9-headed golden lion, one of the top 10 battle beasts? Lu Ming said. Everything is just a false reputation. You've still become a prisoner. Xianxia laughed at himself. Big brother Xianxia, big brother Wu Tai, why are you wearing this chain armor but am not? Lu Ming asked curiously. This kind of armor can seal one's cultivation base. It's covered with formations that can seal one's cultivation base through one's acupuncture points. All those above the celestial arch realm wear this kind of armor. As for those below the celestial arch realm, their cultivation base isn't high. Even if they don't wear the armor, the evil god tribe can easily suppress them. Therefore they don't wear it. Mrs. Wu explained. Lu Ming came to a realization. No wonder some people were wearing armor while some were not. So this was the reason. This place was surrounded by restrictions with terrifying defensive and killing power. Even a heavenly emperor couldn't get out, let alone those under the heavenly emperor realm. Moreover, there were so many experts of the foreign kinds guarding this place. Those below the heavenly emperor realm couldn't cause any trouble. They're here. Xianxia suddenly said as he looked in one direction. Lu Ming and Wu Tai also looked in the same direction. A bald, middle-aged man walked over with a group of people in fiery red armor. The bald middle-aged man looked no different from a human, but the third eye on his forehead told everyone that he was a foreign race. His body exuded an extremely terrifying aura. It was as if he was the universe, high and mighty. His pressure was like the 10 lands and the 8 wastelands of the universe. How terrifying! Lu Ming sensed it and felt cold sweat all over his body. His heart was beating faster. This man is called Duo Lei, the commander of the Eternal Cage. He is also a peak heavenly emperor. Mrs. Wu said in a low voice. Peak heavenly emperor. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. No wonder he gave off such a terrifying feeling. With a peak heavenly emperor guarding this place, even if he didn't set up a restriction, not many people would be able to escape. Duo Lei practices a strange combat technique that requires him to absorb powerful battle qi. So he will gather everyone together once in a while and then choose someone to compete with. He will then be able to absorb the battle qi of others during their battles. Mrs. Wu continued to explain. Lu Ming nodded. He finally understood why these people had gathered here. Duo Lei came to the center of the cave and waved his hand. A fighting stage appeared and landed in the middle of the cave. According to the old rules, whoever I point out will go up and fight. Whoever doesn't try their best and is perfunctory, I will draw all his blood after the battle. Duo Lei said coldly. His eyes were like lightning as they scanned the surroundings. The faces of those who were scanned by him all changed and became somewhat grave. Duo Lei was vicious and merciless and he would definitely do as he said. Many of them had been imprisoned here for countless years, so they were naturally aware of this. Lu Ji Wang Mang, you guys go up. Duo Lei called out names. Then Lu Ming saw 2 figures walking up to the fighting ring. Both of them were wearing silver chain armors. It was obvious that they were both at the Heavenly Emperor realm. After the 2 of them stepped onto the fighting ring, Duo Lei waved his hand and their armors flew away and landed in Duo Lei's hands. Boom. Boom. As soon as the armor flew away, Lu Ji and Wang Mang's bodies exploded with astonishing auras. 3-star Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. 2 of them were 3-star Heavenly Emperors. The number of experts imprisoned in this eternal cage was shocking. Lu Ji and Wang Mang looked at each other and then they suddenly rushed toward each other. Boom. Boom. The 2 of them began to fight intensely in the fighting ring. The 2 of them had similar cultivation levels and they used their full strength without holding back. The battle was extremely intense. It's not a law system. As soon as the 2 of them started fighting, Lu Ming realized that they were not cultivating the nomological system at all. Instead, they were cultivating the immemorial martial Dao, which was similar to the immemorial system. They're from the prison suppression field. They're cultivating, so it should be different from the heaven realm, right? Mrs. Wu said. Yes, I am. Lu Ming nodded. The nomological system had risen at the end of the primordial era, and the prison suppression field should have always been in the evil god field. It was normal that they cultivated differently. The 2 of them exchanged several hundred moves and in the end, Lu Ji won by a slight margin, defeating Wang Mang. Duo Lei was watching from the side, his eyes sparkling with excitement. A layer of light flickered on his body, constantly changing. After Lu Ji and Wang Mang's battle, Duo Lei called another two heavenly emperor powerhouses to battle. The cultivation of each group was similar, so the battle was extremely intense and full of fighting spirit. This was very beneficial to Duo Lei. Just like that, they fought a few groups in a row. There were heavenly emperors and heavenly emperors. Lu Ming realized that none of them cultivated the nomological system. Qing Tsang told him that not many people in the heaven realm had been captured. Most of the humans here were from the prison suppression field. Recently we have a newcomer here. He is a peerless heaven's favorite from the heaven realm. Suddenly Duo Lei spoke and looked at Lu Ming. The others could not help but look at Lu Ming. There was no one as young as Lu Ming here. I heard that you're very strong. Go up and fight, Duo Lei said. Lu Ming's eyes flickered but he did not say anything. He stepped forward and landed on the fighting ring. You go up and fight him. Duo Lei pointed at an old man. The old man leaped onto the fighting ring, and a powerful aura emanated from his body. He was a peak great emperor. Little brother, you have to be careful. This old man's cultivation is peak emperor. The old man said kindly. He felt that Lu Ming was really young. He was so young. No matter how strong he was, how strong could he be? Hence he kindly reminded her. Chapter 2427 Battling the Heaven Arch. Many thanks, Senior. Senior, please. Lu Ming smiled. Be careful. The old man spoke and suddenly rushed toward Lu Ming. His palm was like a knife as he struck out. Buzz. The old man's palm trembled and a strange power circulated. It was really like a battle blade. The old man also cultivated the ancient martial arts, and his attack power was astonishing. Since he had made his move, he would not hold back because Duo Lei would not allow anyone to hold back. Lu Ming took a deep breath and threw a punch. This punch was very ordinary, but when it was thrown out, the space on the fighting stage exploded and the wind howled. The power was extremely shocking. However, there was a light screen around the fighting ring that blocked the reckless chi. The old man's eyes widened. The power of Lu Ming's punch was so shocking that he was shocked. Buzz. The old man's moves changed. With a shake of his arm, he suddenly slashed dozens of times. Dozens of saber beams were shot out, aiming at Lu Ming's fist. However, as Lu Ming's fist passed by, the elder's saber light exploded inch by inch. The terrifying fist force crushed over and collided with the elder's palm. The old man's body trembled as if he had been electrocuted. Then he backed off madly until he was out of the fighting ring and hit the light screen at the edge of the fighting ring. His face turned pale. So strong. At the scene, many people were shocked and could not help but re-examine Lu Ming. Previously, they thought that even if Lu Ming was a genius, he would not be too powerful. It was already very shocking that he had the fighting power of a great emperor. However, Lu Ming's attack shocked them. He had defeated a peak great emperor with one punch. This little brother Lu Ming is not bad. He looks really young. He has cultivated for less than 1,000 years at most, but he has such combat strength. It's really amazing. Mrs. Wu sighed. Qing Gang's eyes were also filled with surprise. He's probably a body cultivator. He's already reached the peak of the Dao Emperor realm and is a rare prodigy. What a pity that he's been locked up in the eternal cage. Qing Tsang sighed. Mrs. Wu was the same. With such strength at such a young age, if he had enough time, he would definitely become a terrifying master. Unfortunately, he had been captured by the alien race and brought here, which was equivalent to losing hope. Little brother's battle strength is amazing. This old man is no match for you. I'm impressed. On the fighting ring, the old man cupped his fists and said, his eyes full of admiration. Senior is too polite. Lu Ming said politely. Duo Lei, I'm really no match for you. You can go down now. The old man looked at Duo Lei. Trash, get lost. Duo Lei waved his hand and the old man walked down the fighting ring. You are indeed powerful. Ao Jing, you go. Duo Lei said to a middle-aged man in silver chain armor. Me. The man was stunned. He was at the Heavenly Emperor realm and Duo Lei was asking him to fight with a great emperor? Duo Lei, you're going too far. Lu Ming is only a great emperor. It's meaningless for you to ask him to fight Ao Jing. Qing Tsang cried out. When has it ever been your turn to interrupt me? Qing Tsang, remember who you are now. You're just a prisoner, so don't think of yourself as one of the top 10 war beasts. Duo Lei coldly glanced at Qing Tsang, then turned to Ao Jing and said, let's go up and fight and use our full strength. Ao Jing had no choice but to step onto the fighting stage. Duo Lei waved his hand and Ao Jing's armor flew away. Roar. A dragon's roar was heard, and Ao Jing emitted a powerful aura. Ao Jing was a true dragon and he was a one-star heavenly emperor. Little brother, be careful. Ao Jing reminded. Senior, just use your full strength. Lu Ming said, a strong fighting spirit in his eyes. This was the first time he was going to fight a heavenly emperor. A heavenly emperor was much stronger than a great emperor. No great emperor had ever been able to fight a heavenly emperor. Even the first prince of the non-human race, who was known as the strongest heaven's favorite of the non-human race, wouldn't be a match for the weakest one-star heavenly emperor. Lu Ming was looking forward to how far he could go against a one-star heavenly emperor if he were to go all out. Moreover, although he had mastered 81 types of nomological laws, his use of them was not perfect. At the very least, he was unable to interweave all the laws together to form a sacred art. It couldn't be as smooth as one. All of this was very difficult to comprehend on one's own, but in an intense battle one would often reap great benefits. Therefore Lu Ming was looking forward to it and his fighting spirit was very strong. Buzz. Whoosh. Lu Ming's body glowed. It was the light of the law. That is, the laws. Below the fighting ring, Qing Tsong was shocked. He did not expect that Lu Ming had actually cultivated laws. Wait, so many? No, several ultimate maxims. What's going on? My God, it's still increasing. Qing Gang's eyes immediately widened. This was because the laws on Lu Ming's body were constantly flashing. 12, 20, 50. And the number of ultimate maxims kept increasing. Qing Gang's eyes grew wider and wider and in the end he became completely dumbfounded. Qing Tsong did not cultivate the system of laws, but the primordial demonic Tao. However, in the ancient era, the system of laws dominated the heaven realm and was extremely prosperous. He naturally understood it very well. At that moment he was dumbfounded when he saw the law on Lu Ming. He was not the only one. Everyone around the battle stage who had some understanding of the nomological system was also dumbfounded. In an instant Lu Ming's 81 types of laws emerged and formed a battle suit that covered his entire body. Lu Ming unleashed his abilities to the maximum. Senior, please. Lu Ming extended his hand and reminded Ao Jing. Little brother, you're amazing. Ao Jing's eyes were filled with shock, and his aura was raised to the maximum. Boom. Boom. The two of them moved at the same time, pouncing towards each other and launching a terrifying attack. With a violent boom, the two of them clashed head-on and then both of them retreated. The difference was that Ao Jing only took 3 steps back while Lu Ming took 15 steps back. What shocking strength! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. What Ao Jing cultivated was not the system of laws, but the primordial demonic Tao. The primordial demonic Tao cultivated the body and demonic power. The combination of the demonic body and demonic power was extremely powerful. In the previous exchange of blows, Ao Jing's strength was completely above Lu Ming's. He didn't know that the others were even more shocked. He blocked it. A great emperor is actually fighting against the celestial emperor. Unbelievable. Ao Jing didn't show any mercy. It is indeed incredible. He is a peerless monster. Unfortunately, he's been locked up in the eternal cage. Many people sighed and felt sorry for Lu Ming. Again. Lu Ming shouted. At this moment his fighting spirit was getting stronger. Boom. Then he rushed toward Ao Jing and increased his power to the maximum. Ao Jing was not to be outdone. He charged at Lu Ming. Bang. Bang. The two of them engaged in an intense battle and the battle turned white hot. Chapter 24-28. Law system breaking through to Great Emperor in an instant. Lu Ming and Ao Jing had exchanged dozens of moves. Satisfying, satisfying. The more Lu Ming fought, the more excited he became. His fighting spirit soared. He was at a disadvantage, suppressed by Ao Jing, but it would not be easy for Ao Jing to defeat him. Lu Ming could unleash all his power when he fought with the Celestial Arch. Moreover, the other party could constantly exert great pressure on him, allowing him to master the laws more proficiently and have a deeper understanding. Boom. Boom. In the great battle, Lu Ming evolved all kinds of laws to the extreme and blasted out all kinds of divine powers. Good, good, good. Below the fighting stage, Duo Lei said good 3 times. He was cultivating a combat technique that required the absorption of battle chi. He realized that Lu Ming's fighting spirit was extremely strong when he was fighting with others. It allowed him to absorb more battle qi. He was already planning to let Lu Ming play more in the future. What shocking battle strength! The others were also shocked by Lu Ming's ability. Lu Ming's abilities were already close to the Heavenly Emperor realm. A great emperor would not be able to withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. This battle lasted for hundreds of moves. After such a long battle, Lu Ming was finally defeated. He was sent flying by Ao Jing and hit the light curtain, spitting blood. He had lost, but his eyes were filled with excitement. The battle just now had deepened his understanding of the various laws. Senior is formidable, junior is no match. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, "You're the one who's powerful. If I didn't have a high cultivation level, how could I be your opponent?" Ao Jing exclaimed. Indeed, if he were to fight Lu Ming at the same level, he would not be able to withstand even one move from Lu Ming. Then the two of them left the fighting ring. Duo Lei then called the others to fight. One day later, Duo Lei seemed to be satisfied. He dismissed everyone and let them return to their secret chambers. "Don't draw Lu Ming's blood. It's useful to me." After the crowd dispersed, Duo Lei ordered his subordinates. After drawing blood, the person would definitely be weak and would not be able to fight for a period of time. He wanted to keep Lu Ming alive to fight with others so that he could absorb battle qi. The others had been locked up here for too long and were already numb to it. Even if they went all out in battle, they could not activate too much battle qi. However, when Lu Ming was fighting, his fighting spirit was high and the battle qi he triggered was extremely strong, which made him happy. Yes. The other alien races obeyed. After Lu Ming returned to the stone room, he continued to cultivate. He recalled the battle in detail and gradually deepened his use of the law. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed. A few months later, Duo Lei gathered them again and asked them to fight. This time, Duo Lei called Lu Ming to fight another one-star Heavenly Emperor. In this battle, Lu Ming was still at a disadvantage. However, after exchanging a few hundred moves, Lu Ming was finally defeated. Just like that, Lu Ming had to fight once every few months. He had gained a lot. He was getting more and more comfortable with the use of various laws. The divine arts he comprehended were also increasing. Moreover, no one came to extract Lu Ming's blood. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had been in the eternal cage for 10 years. After 10 years, Lu Ming was very familiar with the people here. He had become familiar with many people. In the past 10 years, Lu Ming had been focused on comprehending various laws and had made amazing progress. He could finally interweave the 81 laws together to form a divine power. The 81 types of laws were intertwined and transformed into a long spear. His power was shocking. This increased Lu Ming's combat strength by a little. He could really fight to a draw with a one-star celestial the Arch. He had created a miracle that no one had been able to create since ancient times. I've finally perfected the 81 laws into one. I can finally break through to the great emperor realm now. Lu Ming pondered, his eyes filled with anticipation. Lu Ming had experienced too many things along the way. Even in the face of adversity, he would not be discouraged. He believed that as long as he grew stronger and stronger, he would eventually find a way out. Now he was planning to break through to the great emperor realm. The 81 laws contained all the strongest laws and most of the king path laws. Once he successfully broke through to the great emperor realm, he didn't know how powerful he would be. Lu Ming was very much looking forward to it. I should enter the mountain and river diagram. Otherwise, the commotion caused by the breakthrough will be too big. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He then entered the mountain and river diagram. Fortunately, his cultivation base was low, so the alien race didn't care about him. They didn't chain him or make him wear armor. Otherwise, it would be troublesome for him to cultivate. After entering the river portrait, Lu Ming took out a large number of stones of chaos and supreme-grade raw gemstones and placed them around him. He then sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. 3 days later, Lu Ming's state of mind was adjusted to the maximum. "Begin," Lu Ming muttered. At this moment, the world core in his small world emitted a dazzling radiance. The world core, which had fused with 81 types of nomological laws, was now undergoing a shocking transformation. The 81 nomological laws had completely converged, intertwined, and fused together. A quantitative change would lead to a qualitative change. The 81 nomological laws would slowly transform and finally transform into a higher level, which was the Great Tao. This was the process of ordinary people's cultivation. This process could not be completed overnight. It required time. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. At this moment, the 81 nomological laws in the world core could no longer be seen. There was only chaos and a gray blur like the light of chaos, but there were differences. Boom. At this moment, a violent explosion came from Lu Ming's body. A mysterious aura emanated from Lu Ming's body. At this moment, the color of Lu Ming's world core turned from gray to purple gold. In an instant, it completely turned purple gold. It was filled with a noble aura, high and mighty, dominating the world. Lu Ming's body also emitted a purple gold light, making him look sacred and inviolable, like a god who ruled the world. He had broken through. Lu Ming knew that he had made a breakthrough. He was now in the great emperor realm. Devour. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His body was like a black hole, crazily devouring the energy around him. Bang. Bang. Piles and piles of supreme-grade raw gemstones exploded and turned into an extremely rich tide of essential qi. It surged into Lu Ming's body and into his small world. At the same time, pieces of chaos gems exploded and wisps of chaos qi were absorbed and refined by Lu Ming, entering his small world. Lu Ming's small world expanded rapidly. Originally, when Lu Ming was at the peak true emperor stage, the area of his small world was 700,000 miles. At this moment it was expanding rapidly. As the energy refined by Lu Ming entered, it expanded wildly. 75,000 miles, 800,000 miles, 900,000 miles. Very soon Lu Ming's small world had expanded to a radius of 1 million miles. However, it did not stop. Lu Ming's small world was still expanding. Chapter 2429 Path of a Ruler. The average person would stop expanding when their small world reached 1 million miles after reaching the great emperor realm. However, Lu Ming did not stop at all. He continued to expand at an increasing speed. 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 2 million miles. It's actually still expanding. In that case, continue to refine it. Refine it for me. Lu Ming kept taking out supreme-grade raw gemstones and stones of chaos. A large number of supreme-grade raw gemstones were refined. Fortunately, Lu Ming had abundant resources. Over the years he had killed many opponents and accumulated a large number of resources. Furthermore, he had obtained too many resources on the Void God Island. There were over 20,000 chaos gems and primordial chaos gems each. There were countless supreme-grade raw stones. Lu Ming did not even count them. If it were an ordinary person, they would not be able to afford to consume them. Lu Ming did not care about the resources at all. No matter how many resources he had, the most practical thing was to turn them into abilities. As a large number of resources were refined and transformed, Lu Ming's small world continued to expand wildly. 3 million miles for million miles. In the end, Lu Ming's small world expanded to 10 million kilometers before it stopped. The others had just broken through to the great emperor realm and their small world was only 1 million miles wide. However, Lu Ming's small world had a radius of 10 million miles, which was 10 times the size of others. This was the distance between the length and width. As for the surface area, it was unknown how many times it was, at least 100 times. This was already comparable to a small world of the heavenly emperor realm. Of course, the amount of resources consumed was also shocking. Lu Ming had used up 3,000 chaos gems. As for the supreme-grade raw stones, there were an even more shocking number of them. Lu Ming did not even count them. However, it was all worth it. Lu Ming could feel that the world energy in his body was extremely rich. It was not like the world energy that an ordinary great emperor could possess. I'm still a 1-star great emperor, but my world energy is many times more powerful than the world energy of other 1-star great emperors. Lu Ming muttered. Fliss' current world energy was really too strong. There's a different type of energy in the world force. All of a sudden, Lu Ming sensed that his world energy was mixed with a trace of purple gold energy. Moreover, Lu Ming felt that this energy was extremely shocking and much stronger than world energy. Could it be my great Tao? Lu Ming thought of the great Tao that he controlled. With a thought, his body emitted a purple light. There was a kind of power that he controlled. The power was extremely mysterious, but it exuded a terrifying power as if it ruled over everything. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to have become one with the entire world. It was as if the energy of the entire world could be used by him. He dominated everything. Lu Ming seemed to be able to dominate everything. With a single thought, a mountain in the mountain and river diagram in the distance turned into ashes and dissipated. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. This power was too terrifying. If I had only thought about it. This is my great Tao. No, great Tao definitely doesn't have such powerful might. I seem to have become one with time. However, it's different from the heavenly Tao. Lu Ming's thoughts were filled with doubts. He realized that the great Tao he controlled was completely different from the other great Taos. He was certain that the other great Taos would not be able to withstand a single blow from him. However, it was also different from the heavenly Tao. Even his power of the world was mixed with this power. It was different from the great Tao and also different from the heavenly Tao. It seemed to be a brand new Tao. It should be related to my cultivation. One cultivate 81 types of nomological laws, which is why this wonderful Tao was born. Lu Ming analyzed. The fundamental structure of the world was the laws. There were thousands of laws, but the core was the 10 strongest laws and many king path laws. Although there were many other ordinary laws, their effects were far less than the 10 ultimate laws and the king path laws. As for Lu Ming, he had mastered all the ultimate maxims and most of the king path maxims. After breaking through to the great emperor realm, he had mastered a mysterious Tao. I wonder how powerful this Tao of mine is. Lu Ming pondered, then closed his eyes and started to experiment. When he activated this wonderful technique, he seemed to have become one with the heaven and earth. Fliss consciousness drifted out and extended out of the stone room. Lu Ming saw everything in the other stone rooms. He continued to extend his consciousness outwards. Not long after, Lu Ming saw a layer of light screen. This light screen covered the entire area. At the very top of the light screen, there was a round pearl that was emitting a bright light. The light screen was formed by this bead. Could it be that this is the restriction of the eternal cage? A restriction formed by the evil god race's sacred ancestors' treasure? Lu Ming's heart stirred. If we can open this restriction, we can go out. Lu Ming's eyes lit up, but then he smiled helplessly. Qing Tsong and the others had said that not even a peak heavenly emperor could penetrate this light curtain. Moreover, it had a terrifying offensive power that could even kill a peak heavenly emperor. Then how could he open it? However, Lu Ming really wanted to give it a try. He had a feeling that he could dominate everything. If I could even open the light screen here. This was the feeling he got from that wonderful Tao. I'll try. In the end, Lu Ming made up his mind and decided to give it a try. A wisp of purple gold light flew towards the light screen. It was the wondrous Tao. Buzz. Waves spread out from the light screen and finally a crack appeared. It's a success. It's actually a success. Lu Ming was ecstatic. The light screen seemed to be under his control. It was an extremely mysterious feeling. Then Lu Ming quickly put away the wonderful way and the light screen returned to normal. Duo Lei was in control of the treasure and Lu Ming was afraid that he would alert him. At this moment, Duo Lei, who was cultivating in a secret room, suddenly opened his eyes. Could it be that someone is attacking the restriction? You really don't know what's good for you. Duo Lei mumbled as he observed through the bead. He controlled the bead and could observe everything that was happening on the light screen at any time. However, Duo Lei didn't find anything. Fi didn't find anyone attacking the light curtain. Could it be an illusion? Duo Lei frowned. Fi then carefully observed for a while but did not find anything, so he ignored it. At this moment, Lu Ming was overjoyed. It really worked. He could really open the restriction. This meant that he could leave at any time. This wondrous Tao is too wondrous, too profound. Lu Ming waved his hand and his palm emitted a purple gold radiance. It was the physical manifestation of the wonderful Tao. I've never heard of this Tao before, but it seems to be able to dominate the world. Let's call it the Tao of domination. Lu Ming came up with a name. The Tao of a ruler. I don't know how strong my current combat strength is. Lu Ming pondered. Before his breakthrough, Lu Ming could fight a weaker one-star celestial emperor to a draw if he used all his strength. Now that he had made a breakthrough, his world power had increased tremendously, and he had mastered the ruler's Tao. Fliss combat strength had definitely soared. Chapter 2430. Preparing to escape. Lu Ming had a feeling that he could kill a one-star celestial emperor with just the world energy and the dominator's Tao without using his physical body. One had to know that he was only a one-star great emperor. If he could kill a one-star heavenly emperor, it would be equivalent to crossing an entire major realm to kill the enemy. For it to happen to a great emperor or heavenly emperor, it was an unbelievable thing. The higher one's cultivation level was, the harder it was to fight those of higher cultivation levels. To be able to cultivate to the heavenly emperor realm, which one of them wasn't a peerless genius. Only by mastering an ultimate maxim could one cultivate to the heavenly emperor realm. Therefore, towards the end, it was extremely difficult to cross a minor realm to fight an enemy. Not to mention crossing a major realm to kill an enemy. Moreover, this was only Lu Ming's estimation. In addition to his physical strength, Lu Ming's combat strength would be even stronger. From now on, Lu Ming had entered the ranks of the powerhouses in the Heaven Realm, Primordial Realm and Evil God Realm. Now is not the time to leave. With my strength, even if I leave, I will be discovered and caught up to. Moreover, even if I leave in the vast Evil God world, where should I go? Lu Ming started to think again. In the end, he decided to discuss it with Qing Tsong and the others. He might even escape with them. Lu Ming stopped and stood up. He walked to the door and gave it a hard push. The door was pushed open. The eternal cage was not strictly managed. It was mainly because of the divine ancestors' treasure which covered the entire area. No one could break the restriction. Therefore, Duo Lei and the other alien races were at ease. Usually, Lu Ming and the others could enter and leave the stone rooms freely. To Duo Lei and the rest, Lu Ming and the rest could only move around within the area of the restriction at most. They could not run away. Moreover, those above the celestial arch level had chains and armors that could seal their cultivation base, providing them with an additional layer of insurance. Lu Ming walked out of the stone room and followed the passageway. Soon he arrived at the entrance of another secret room. He knocked on the door and a voice came from inside, "Come in." Lu Ming pushed the stone door open and walked in. Qing Tsong was inside. Qing Tsong was lying on a blue stone and drinking wine leisurely. "Ah, Brother Lu Ming, you came at the right time. Drink with me." Qing Tsong smiled, took out a pot of wine and threw it to Lu Ming. This wine was given to Qing Tsong by Lu Ming. There was no wine to drink in the eternal cage. Lu Ming took it and took a sip. "Brother Lu Ming, did you have a breakthrough in your cultivation?" Suddenly Qing Tsong's eyes lit up. Although his cultivation was sealed by the chained armor, his eyes were still sharp. He could tell at a glance that Lu Ming had made a breakthrough. "I just broke through," Lu Ming said. "Let me see, what is the great Tao you have comprehended?" Qing Tsong quickly asked, very curious. Lu Ming had mastered 81 types of laws. He was also very curious about what kind of great Tao he would master when he broke through to the Great Emperor realm. Lu Ming nodded. He was about to ask Qing Tsong. Qing Tsong had lived for a long time, so he might know what the great Tao he had comprehended was. With a single thought, a domineering aura emanated from Lu Ming's body. At the same time, a purple gold light emanated from his body. Qing Tsong's expression turned grave when he sensed Lu Ming's aura. "Big brother Qing Tsong, do you know what Tao this is?" Lu Ming asked. "It's so strange. I've never seen or heard of such a Tao." Qing Tsong shook his head. Qing Tsong looked at it carefully and revealed a surprised expression. "What a terrifying Tao. There's a domineering will in it. In front of this Tao, I'm afraid that ordinary great Taos won't be able to withstand a single blow. Only the heavenly Tao can contend with it. Moreover, your cultivation is still weak now. In the future, as your cultivation improves, it will become even more amazing and powerful." "Sigh, what a pity." Qing Tsong let out a long sigh. "Big brother Qing Tsong, what's a pity?" Lu Ming said. "It's a pity that you're locked up here. Otherwise, with your talent, you might be able to create a miracle in the future and break through the last barrier to enter the Supreme Realm. If that's the case, the Heaven Realm might be able to defeat the evil God tribe." "What a pity." Qing Tsong sighed. "Big brother Qing Tsong, we might be able to get out," Lu Ming said in a low voice. "What? Brother Lu Ming, what do you mean by that?" Qing Tsong glared at him. "Big brother Qing Tsong, I won't hide it from you. I've named my great Tao the Tao of Sovereign. I've opened the restriction of the eternal cage through the Tao of Sovereign." Lu Ming explained the situation. "What?" Qing Tsong's eyes glowed with a bright light. Even though he was sealed by the chain armor, a terrifying aura still emanated from him. "Brother Lu Ming, you said, is it true?" Qing Tsong's voice trembled. He had been locked up here for too long and had no hope of leaving. Now that he heard that he could leave, he was naturally excited. "Yes, it's absolutely true. However, I'm afraid that Duo Lei will soon find out after opening it, so I came to discuss it with Big Brother Qing Tsong," Lu Ming said. "It doesn't matter. As long as I can get out of this restriction, I can break free from this sealing armor. At that time, even if Duo Lei finds out, I'm not afraid of him. Qing Tsong said with great confidence. Qing Tsong was different from the Titan Longhorn and the 9 Lives devilish silkworm. Although he had been captured during the ancient battle, his injuries hadn't been that serious and he had long since recovered. As long as he could break free from the seal, he would immediately recover his peak Heavenly Emperor cultivation base and wouldn't be afraid of Duo Lei. Then where are we going after we leave? Wu Ming asked. I'm going to the prison suppression field, so I'm going with Wu Tai and the others. This time I'll take this opportunity to bring more people out. Qing Tsong said. Lu Ming nodded. He had the same intention. There were too many experts in the Eternal Cage. The number of Heavenly Emperor realm powerhouses was also shocking. If they could bring them out, they would definitely be able to cause great trouble for the evil god tribe. That way the pressure on the Heaven realm would also be reduced. He couldn't give up on this combat power. Immediately, Lu Ming and Qing Tsong discussed the details. Then they looked for Wu Tai and told him about the matter. When Mrs. Wu heard this, she was shocked at first, but then she was overjoyed. The 3 of them discussed who they should bring out. This matter had to be carried out strictly. He had to bring along people he could trust. If this matter was exposed to the alien race, they would probably seal Lu Ming or even kill him. Everything would be over then. After some discussion, Wu Tai and Qing Tsong started to take action. They revealed this matter to some people they could trust and discussed when to take action. In the end, there were more than 30 people who knew about this. Of course, if they wanted to escape, it would not be just these 30 people. Each of them could find an excuse and invite some people to go with them. As long as they did not tell them the specific details beforehand, they could escape together when Lu Ming opened the restriction. In the end, they decided to wait for Duo Lei to gather them before taking action. Because when he finished absorbing battle chi, he would definitely need to cultivate. By then he would be at his lowest alert. Chapter 2431 Inst-killing the Heavenly Emperor. As expected, after half a month, Duo Lei gathered everyone for a competition again. Without a doubt, Lu Ming was called up again. Lu Ming did not use the way of domination. He only used his physical strength and a part of the world's energy to fight with a 1-star celestial arch for hundreds of moves. I've broken through. Duo Lei's eyes flickered. He could naturally tell that Lu Ming had a breakthrough. However, even if Lu Ming broke through, he was only at the Great Emperor realm. He did not care much about it. In his opinion, Lu Ming's physical strength was too strong. Even if he had a breakthrough in the laws, it would not increase his overall combat strength by much. After more than a day, the duel ended. Lu Ming and the rest returned to their respective stone rooms. After returning to the stone room, Lu Ming waited quietly. After a few hours, Lu Ming opened the stone door and went to Qing Gang's stone room. When he arrived at the Qing Tsong stone room, he found that there was another big man in the room. This burly man did not know that Lu Ming and the rest's plan was invited by Qing Tsong. Not long after, Mrs. Wu also arrived at Qing Gang's stone room with 2 people. Wu Tai, old brother Qing Tsong, why did you call us here? The 2 men who came with Mrs. Wu asked. These 2 people didn't know the specific plan. We're looking for you guys, just come with us. Qing Tsong said. Then he walked out of the stone room first, followed by Lu Ming and the others. The few of them were very curious, but they did not ask much. They followed Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming and the group entered a passageway and strolled around casually, heading to the periphery of the Eternal Cage. At this moment, many people began to take action. Those who knew the plan invited 1, 2, or 3 people. They strolled around casually and headed to the place where Lu Ming and the rest had agreed on. Lu Ming and the rest turned left and right, bypassing a few passages, and came to a relatively large stone room. This stone chamber was the outermost one. If one walked through the passage outside the stone chamber, they would reach the edge of the restriction. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, there were already a few people waiting there. As time passed, more and more people arrived. A moment later, there were a total of 133 people. Among the 133 people, there were a total of 300 people who wore chain armors on their bodies, indicating that they were all Heavenly Emperor realm existences. Only 30 of them were below the Heavenly Emperor level. Everyone, why did you bring us here? Someone else asked. Those who were invited here were also very curious. Qing Tsong and the others didn't answer. Everyone's here, let's go. Qing Tsong said as he walked away. The people who were invited were even more curious. However, those who were invited were usually very close to someone, so they didn't ask much and just followed Xianxia. Gradually, they approached the entrance of the passage. They could even see the light barrier outside through the passage. Do you want to escape? Finally, someone guessed what Lu Ming and the rest were up to. Their expressions changed drastically. There was no way to break this restriction. Furthermore, those above the Heavenly Emperor level were all wearing chain armors that sealed their cultivation. It was impossible for them to escape. If he tried to force his way through, he would only die. Do you want to die? Some people were a little anxious. Would we do that if we weren't confident? Just follow us. Someone said. Many people's faces became extremely solemn and uncertain. They hadn't expected that Xianxia and the others would actually try to escape. For countless years, no one had managed to escape. What are you guys trying to do? At this moment, a loud roar came from the passage entrance and a burly figure appeared. It was a foreign being wearing blood-red armor and had a powerful aura. Everyone's expression changed drastically. Usually there were no foreign races in this passageway. Because the non-human kind was very confident in their inhibition formations, the security was very loose. There was no non-human kind guarding this place at all. Today a foreign being had actually appeared. Moreover, it seemed that his cultivation was very profound. He was a foreign being in the Heavenly Emperor realm. Unlucky, he was really too unlucky. Xianxia, Wu Tai and the others' faces turned extremely ugly. A Heavenly Emperor alien, this is troublesome. Xianxia could tell that this was a one-star Heavenly Emperor. It should be known that those above the Heavenly Emperor realm all wore chain armors. Only those below the Heavenly Emperor realm did not wear armor. They couldn't do anything to this Heavenly Emperor, and once he made a scene and alerted Duo Lei, everything would be over. All his plans would be ruined. Many people who knew the plan were burning with anxiety. What to do? Buzz. At this moment, a figure burst out and charged toward the non-human Heavenly Emperor. It was Lu Ming. Lu Ming took action immediately. At this moment there was nothing to hesitate about. They could only escape after killing this alien. Otherwise they would all be finished. Lu Ming's speed was shockingly fast. His entire body was covered in a purple glow. He used all his strength the moment he attacked, using the way of the master. In the process of rushing out, the Great Desolation Spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming burst out with all his strength, becoming one with the spear and stabbed at the alien Celestial Arch. This is... The non-human Celestial Thearch's pupils contracted sharply. He felt a fatal threat from Lu Ming's attack. It was unbelievable that a great emperor could give him such a feeling. However, he didn't have time to think. He roared and used all his power to form layers of defense. As long as he could block this move and escape in the other direction, he would spread the news of what had happened here. Lu Ming and the rest would be finished and he would be able to make a contribution. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming's attack had already arrived. The alien's expression changed. This was because the defense that he had set up could not withstand Lu Ming's attack at all. Wherever the spear radiance passed, all his defenses collapsed instantly. No, how is that possible? The non-human Celestial the Arch roared in his heart. A long spear pierced through the void and pierced through his forehead. Buzz. The spear trembled and the non-human Heavenly Emperor was torn into pieces. He was dead. Everyone was dumbfounded and completely stunned. A one-star Heavenly Emperor was killed by Lu Ming in one move. Oh my god, what kind of strength was this? Lu Ming was only at the Great Emperor realm, but he was able to kill a one-star Heavenly Emperor with one move. His combat strength was too terrifying. In fact, this was normal. The Dominator's Dao was too powerful. Lu Ming's world energy even contained a trace of purple gold energy. Lu Ming called it the Dominator's energy. Now Lu Ming did not need a physical body. He felt that he could kill a one-star Celestial Arch with the law system alone. Just now, with the addition of his physical strength and the power of the Great Desolation Spear, it was not surprising that he could kill a one-star Celestial Arch in a second. Buzz. After killing the alien Celestial Arch, Lu Ming did not stop and rushed out of the passage. Chapter 2432 Race Against Time. After Lu Ming rushed out of the passage, he put away the Great Desolation Spear and smacked the light curtain of the restriction with his palm. What does he want to do? Those who didn't know the plan were shocked and their faces changed. It was impossible for Lu Ming to break the light curtain by attacking it like this. It would also alert Duo Lei. However, it was too late for them to stop him. Buzz. Lu Ming's palm carried a purple gold light. It hit the light curtain of the restriction and caused layers of ripples. Lu Ming used the path of domination to break the restriction. The Tao of a sovereign ruled over all things, and it could even rule over this restrictive barrier. Ripples appeared on the barrier and Qing Song and the others watched with wide eyes. Although they heard from Lu Ming that he could break the restriction, they had not seen it with their own eyes. They could not help but feel nervous. Buzz. Suddenly the restrictive barrier shook. Then a crack appeared on it. The crack grew bigger and bigger, forming a huge hole. It opened. The light screen of the restrictive spell was activated. Qing Song and the others were ecstatic. As for those who had been invited and didn't know the original plan, they were all dumbfounded and couldn't believe their eyes. The light curtain of the restriction was actually opened by Lu Ming, who had not broken through to the Heavenly Emperor realm. How was this possible? Legend had it that the light screen of the Eternal Cage was formed by a treasure of the non-human race's divine ancestor. It was indestructible and even peak Heavenly Emperors couldn't break it. But now Lu Ming had broken it. But someone gave himself a tight slap. "What are you doing?" Someone asked in surprise. "I'm checking to see if I'm dreaming. Am I daydreaming because I want to go out too much? So I'm not, huh?" The man burst out laughing. The others were speechless. Go quickly. Otherwise, when Duo Lei finds out, none of us will be able to leave." Qing Song roared and ran forward. The others also seemed to wake up from a dream and ran after him. "Hurry up, I can't hold on for long." Lu Ming shouted as well. He realized that the energy consumed to open the light screen of the restriction was terrifying. Now his world energy was flowing away at an alarming rate. Buzz. Whoosh. Qing Song Wu Tai and the others quickly rushed out and finally arrived outside the light curtain. At this time, Duo Lei, who had been in seclusion, suddenly opened his eyes. His face was extremely ugly. Damn it. He had discovered Lu Ming and the rest instantly through the treasure of the divine ancestor. He was extremely shocked. Lu Ming could actually open the light screen of the restriction. This was unprecedented. "Damn it, none of you can leave. Die." Duo Lei roared as he controlled the sacred ancestor treasure. Buzz. At this moment the bead above the eternal cage began to shake violently. It exuded a terrifying aura, and the restrictive barrier trembled violently. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force pressing down on him. His body shook violently and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. The hole that he had opened up was healing rapidly. Fortunately, everyone had escaped. Lu Ming's muscles trembled and he rushed out of the light screen before it could heal. "None of you will be able to escape." Duo Lei's roar came out of the eternal cage as a terrifying aura burst out and spread out for 1,000,000 miles. Duo Lei and the peak Heavenly Emperor realm experts had gone mad. It was earth-shattering and terrifying. At this moment, those who hadn't managed to escape from the eternal cage were all shocked. What's going on? What's happening? Duo Lei has gone mad. Could it be that someone is trying to escape? Who is so bold? Many people were making guesses. Everyone, pursue the escapees and kill them without mercy. Duo Lei's voice was heard again. He chased after Lu Ming and the rest at an extremely fast speed. All the alien races in the eternal cage were alarmed and they chased after Lu Ming and the rest. Someone has escaped. The remaining people who didn't escape were dumbfounded. Someone actually managed to escape. At this moment outside the light screen, Qing Song howled into the sky, his roar shaking the heavens. A dazzling golden light erupted from Qing Gang's body, and the endless golden light hit the chain armor. Bang! 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 The chain armor kept exploding and Qing Gang's aura became stronger and stronger. Qing Song used to be one of the top 10 battle beasts. He was a peak Heavenly Emperor and his combat strength was amazing. He could break the chain armor with his own strength. However, in the past when he was inside the light curtain he couldn't get out even if he broke his armor. He would be suppressed by the holy ancestor weapon controlled by Duo Lei. But now that he was outside he had no scruples. Qing Song. A loud roar came from the distance as a burly figure appeared. It was Duo Lei. Duo Lei had arrived. Buzz. A destructive light burst out of Duo Lei's third eye. This destructive light turned into a giant hand that passed through the light screen and bombarded Lu Ming and the others. He was going to kill Lu Ming, Qing Song and the others. Break. Qing Song roared as a terrifying power exploded from his body, destroying the chain armor. With his chain armor destroyed, Qin Gang's aura became even more terrifying. His body emitted an infinite amount of golden light as his body rapidly transformed into a giant lion. It was a giant lion with 9 heads and a golden body that looked like it was carved from gold. It was the 9-headed golden lion, one of the top 10 battle beasts. Roar, roar, roar. The 9 heads howled and the entire eternal cage shook violently. The space around it exploded into pieces. Duo Lei's destructive hand also shook crazily, but it was blocked. At this moment, Wu Tai and the others were also crazily attacking the chain armor. However, they weren't as strong as Qing Tsong, so they couldn't break through it all. In the distance, many powerful auras rose up. The other powerful beings of the alien race were also coming. Elder brother Wu, let me help you. Lu Ming came to Wu Tai's side and used his nominator's power to help Wu Tai break the chains and armor. If a ruler's power could break through the barriers set up by a non-human sacred ancestor's weapon, it should be able to break through this armor as well. And sure enough, as soon as the sovereign's power poured into the armor, the seal was destroyed. In the blink of an eye, all of the sealing power was broken. Boom. Wu Tai's armor exploded and a terrifying aura emanated from his body. Ha, I'm finally free. Wu Tai laughed out loud. His aura was like a smoke signal rising to the sky and stirring up the wind and clouds. Although Wu Tai wasn't as powerful as Qing Tsong, he was still a terrifying existence. He had reached the level of a 6-star heavenly emperor. He wasn't far from the peak of the heavenly emperor realm. Damn it! Duo Lei bellowed in anger and exploded with all his strength, launching a series of terrifying attacks. However, Qing Tsong wasn't afraid of him at all. His 9 lion heads roared and shot out beams of light as he fought with Duo Lei. The two of them had similar cultivation levels and they were locked in a fierce battle.